Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the power. Screw Green Bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze frame.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I have Mr. Green Bean to my this way. I got Mr. Matt O'Leary to my that way. Green Bean, how you doing tonight?
Dude, that intro is epic, man. Where'd you get that thing?
Dude, we actually talked to this dude. He's like this reptilian thing from down under. They call him 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐞𝐽.
Nice. I really do love it. That's an exciting intro. I hope you guys liked it in the chat. It's good to be here tonight.
Dude, I went from 6 to midnight watching that. It was incredible. Thank you, Gator, so much for that. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, he's in the chat. Look at that. Gator in the chat. Most talented man on Jets internet, I guess we'll call it. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the whole thing. Came out so good. I was so excited to forward that along to you guys when that came through on the email we transfer. And I'm excited to talk about this shit show of a team. Let's do it, guys.
Yeah.
Boys and girls, if you're just hopping in here and you want to get in on our t-shirt giveaway or jersey giveaway or whatever we're doing at the end of the stream, you're going to have a shot at that. But if you're not watching live, what you can do is timestamp some moments of the live stream in the chat. We're going to pick qualifiers from last week's live stream that timestamped our show because it helps us out, gives you guys a chance to get entered into our jersey giveaway. So you guys can do that. And then obviously hit that like button on your way in here if you're frustrated like the rest of Jet Nation is with everything going on with this damn team right now. So boys and girls, let's jump off right there. Actually, no, let's not totally jump off because we do have a very, very generous gift to give away to someone, 2 people. Well, I guess 1 person for 2 people. And maybe you don't want them, doesn't matter. One of our lovely listeners, Ariana, and her boyfriend decided to gift us 2 tickets to the Texans versus Jets game. And we're going to give them away because the 3 of us can't make it. Hopefully one of you guys wants the tickets. But yeah, we're going to give someone away. So if you guys are able to go to Jets Texans this week, it doesn't have a parking pass, so you'd have to get your own parking pass. But if you want to get into it, let's say if we see ticks or something like that, like the little, I don't know, send me tickets or something like that, we want to give them away to someone who can actually go. So it's not going to go to just some random person, but we'll get a list of people that can go to the game, and then we'll pick a random person from that list, if that makes sense.
We don't want 2 more Texans fans in the building.
No,
you know?
absolutely not.
Right.
No Texans fans allowed. Screw them. But let's move on to like some of our other stuff. We got a whole lot going on. Crazy stuff. Zach Wilson apparently reluctant to start at quarterback for the New York Jets. A whole like shitstorm of stuff for the last what do we call it? 36 hours? Last day and a half? So yesterday we saw word come out that Zach was reluctant to start. Then we had Robert Saleh's press conference where he said none of that happened. And like he came into his press conference or came into his office and said, hey, I want to start. I want the ball. I'm ready to go. And, maybe that's it. And then we start hearing from Rodgers today on the Pat McAfee show. He kind of backs up what Sal is saying and also like the team first front. But then we also heard some more stuff from Deanna Rossini from the K show. So I feel like we should probably hop over and watch the clip from the K show first because that's the most up-to-date stuff that we have. So this is Deanna Rossini on the K show.
So Aaron Rodgers kind of saying that, he never spoke to Zach or anything like that. What's your whole take on the Jets' response to what you reported yesterday?
Yeah, I think the Jets have to go out there and deny it the way Robert Saleh did yesterday, the way Aaron Rodgers did today. Although they didn't actually really deny the accuracy of the story. It was just more about their issue with the leaks that are coming out and that information that's getting out of the building. You guys have been playing Rodgers' interview with the Pat McAfee show, and when you really listen to what he's talking about, he's mad at the Jets right now that something like this that can make a player look bad would even be given to reporters, and that reflects the state of the team. And I think right now everyone's trying their best to try to figure out, what was it, a player? Was it a coach? Was it a trainer? Was it somebody that works in security? I can just tell you that it was multiple people that are very aware, because the entire building has been aware of this for over a week now, that Zach Wilson has had reluctance to wanting to go back in there. He's expressed it openly to people. And from his side of it, I think you guys have, I'm sure, discussed it about how, maybe he has a right to stand up for himself because of the fear of being injured. He knows he's not going to be with the New York Jets once he was benched. Once he was benched, it was over for Zach Wilson in New York. And I understand from his perspective of why he was perhaps contemplating going back in there, but then, of course, you have that other side. So, the Jets wanted Aaron Rodgers to talk to him, coach him up a little bit about why you need to, make the right decision here for the team, because they need him. In their opinion, Zach Wilson is the best quarterback in that building at this moment, and they want to put him back in there.
Now, Diana, that's the one thing he did refute, though. He says he never spoke to Zach, or that he was ever told to speak to Zach. So I guess that's the one thing that he did say that you were misleading at.
Yeah, that's okay. He doesn't want to share that he has that much influence and power. Then it also confirms my report. But he was told to speak with him last Wednesday, and he spoke with him yesterday about changing his mind. And I was actually even told that it didn't even work initially, that Zach said thanks, but no thanks. This is what I'm going to do moving forward. Now, someone from Zach's side of this did reach out that if he was going to be named a starting quarterback, he's going to get out there and play. And he's now changed his mind on this and will be doing it. So, look, Michael, you just mentioned that you've done this before. It's frustrating because I don't think people can see through it. That's where it's frustrating.
Right.
But the Jets know I know, Zach Wilson knows I know, and Aaron Rodgers, once again, has gone on television to refute a report that's accurate.
All right, so that is the comments that we have, the most recent stuff coming out about this damn team and the hijinks going on with our once number 2 overall pick, Zach Wilson. So I guess I'll start off and I'll just say I definitely think Zach is feeling this way. I think this is 100% true. I think if you put me in that same situation and I got yanked and people were yelling at me, they were throwing water bottles at me at one point in the season. They had, they've been in my mom's DMs yelling at her about me, and for multiple seasons now that this has gone on. And now he's been pulled twice, last year and this year, and now you're going to say, oh, well, yeah, the other 2 quarterbacks behind him also suck, so we got to go back to you. Like, I get how he's feeling. I do understand that. But at the same time, you're the number 2 overall pick. The reason you were benched is because you played god-awful. That's why you got benched. Yeah, you were terrible. That you gave us no other option but to bench you to see if we could get anything going. Like, we, to our detriment, kept you in as long as possible. Like we were saying during the Charger game, like, man, that would have been a good time to pull him. He gave 17 points back the other way. The Raider game, I think, was the Raider game the first one where we saw any Boyle? I think it was the end of the, or no, was the end of the Raider game? Or was the next game he started? I thought he came in at the end of the Raider game.
Yeah, he came in at the end of
Buffalo game.
What Buffalo? Shit. Why do I not remember?
Yeah,
it's got to be Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
and then Boyle got 2 starts in a row, right? Boyle got Miami and he got the Falcons.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our timeline right now. So you kept with Zach for a long time after he was not playing well, and there's more to why the offense wasn't working than just Zach Wilson bad. It was offensive line bad. It was play calling bad. It was wide receivers dropping passes. There was penalties. Like, there's a lot going on. It's not only Zach. But Zach was the only one at the time that we could pull the trigger on to try and get something to change. And for him to be reluctant to go back in is a slap in the face to the organization. I think it's a real big mark on his resume. And then I think, I don't know. I feel like the team's trying to do cover. If they've known about this for a week, it's like, this is festering over. I don't know how you don't cut him at this point just to like save face or deactivate him. You don't have to cut him, but just deactivate him, send him home like they did, not the Jets, but like, I think the Jets did it to Keyshawn at one point. What was that?
No, we never did it to Keyshawn. We did it to Elijah Moore, and we did it. They did it to Eric Carr out for the Raiders last year.
Yeah. I was gonna say T.O. on the Eagles. They did that too as well when things were kind of going a little rocky towards the end of his time there. So I guess Matt, I'll throw it to you first. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? What would you do? What do you think's true or false? Where do you stand on all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I have absolutely no idea what is true and what isn't true anymore. But for a hot second, let's operate under the assumption, let's believe Diana Rossini. If that is actually the case, if it's been well known within the building for a week that Zach Wilson does not want to go back into play, the Jets feel that they want to go back to Zach Wilson and that Zach does not want to play, he should not be here. He has zero cachet to say, you know what, I'm all good. He had 6 touchdowns to 12 turnovers when he got benched. It's not like he was putting up stellar numbers. And that's not to say, like, again, for the 9 millionth fucking time this year, it wasn't all on Zach Wilson. This whole thing wasn't all on Zach Wilson, but he was a major part of the problem. He was a big part, along with the offensive line, Nathaniel Hackett, the weapons, everything. It was a really big issue, but if he wants to play in the league next year, how do you not say, you know what, I'm going to go back in? The Jets don't owe him anything. They gave him $35 million guaranteed. He was without a doubt, starting quarterback his first 2 years in the league. He was without a doubt the backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers. There was no competition any of the 3 years for either the starter role, or the backup role this year. Like, so what leg does he have to stand on if he wants to continue to play in this league? That's what I'm not getting. Oh, good for Zach Wilson for standing up and giving the FU to the Jets. They gifted him the job twice in his first and second year, and then gifted him the backup job. And like, do you not want to play in the league next year? Do you not want to go somewhere else? Like, what do you think the 31 other teams think if this report is true? Again, that is the caveat. We have no idea what actually happened. But if this report is true, it is a terrible, terrible look for Zach Wilson.
Green Bean, what about you? Where do you stand on this whole story?
Well, the thing is, I don't really like. It sounds to me like Diana Rossini has a little bit of an anger problem toward Aaron Rodgers. She sounds a little bit snippy to me. That just being what it is. She sounds a little, I don't know, to me. Like when I hear people talk like that, I usually say, "Hey, what's really going on?" Like that's my world, right? I go, "What? Hey, what's really going on?"
Do you think that could be that like Rodgers is calling her a liar, or like, because there is that side of it as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think she's probably lying just to say that. I mean, whatever. I mean, but like, so is a reporter, if a reporter says something and somebody says it's not true, are you supposed to be upset and mad about it? You're supposed to just,
No, I think Rodgers went a lot further than most other people would have the opportunity to go, I think. Like he had the hour spot on McAfee where he just kind of, not that he roasted her the entire time, but like that first initial segment.
That sounded mellow to me. I do agree that, like when he said he was, organizations, he said this stuff happens when you're losing. It doesn't happen when you're winning. Right. And that's a great point. Up until this point, the Joe Douglas Jets have been relatively tight-lipped. This is like the first real, other than the Elijah Moore stuff, But let me say this. I made a video, and we were live. I can't place which game it was. It was the game where Zach, he threw a pick, but like it looked to me like number one, let me just say this. Zach Wilson, he might be tough physically, but he's a pussy here, okay? Most of his problem is he's scared. He's scared to run. He's scared to throw it. He's scared to take the chance. He's scared. That's what he is. So I would totally believe that he didn't want to go back in there, because I was saying for about 2 weeks straight, but one game in particular, I just can't remember which game it was. It was maybe the one before he got benched. We were literally saying he looks like he's trying to get taken out. Like, that's what it looked like to me. Like, he was throwing, it might have been Buffalo. I mean, I don't even remember. He was throwing the ball directly, like he scrambled to the right, and he just, instead of throwing it out of bounds, he threw it directly to two Buffalo. I'm just saying Buffalo, but two defensive backs. There was nobody else. It was just the Buffalo players. The one Jets player was already out of bounds. So, like, and then he came back in the next play. He fucking threw a pick to the left. And we were saying, like, it just looks like he's like, just take me out already. Like, I don't want to be out here anymore. And we saw that last year. He very much looked like that in the Jacksonville game. He just looked like a shell, right? He's just, he looks terrified. He looks overwhelmed. And again, all the talent in the world, we were clearly rooting for the guy, right? We wanted this to work. But this is why, and I've said this 150,000 times, most teams, when there's an incumbent starter on the team and they decide to move on and bring in a different starter, 99 out of 100 times that starter is gone. The previous starter is gone. Why? Because it starts all kinds of messy shit that we're seeing right now. Now, this might be a little bit different than another situation, but we're seeing it, man. And we're seeing the kid that the thing that bothers me the most out of all of it is that this is a guy that clearly, dude, he's given us 21 touchdowns in 3 years. That's what we've gotten from this kid. To go along with 25 interceptions and I think 5 or 6 fumbles, whatever it might be that he lost. So that's what we're really looking at, a 3-year body of work that is lopsided from the negative to the positive. We have 10,000 excuses for why that is, but the truth is he's not very good. He's a scared kid, and we gave him every opportunity to do everything that he could. He can't do it, and the fact that we now have to go crawling back to him, and he's going to say, I don't fucking feel like it. That bothers me. That's the part that bothers me. Just like Matt said, and if he doesn't want to do that, the second that they sniff that out, they say, get the fuck out of the building. Get out of here. All the shit we did for you, you little pansy ass. That's what they should be saying to him. Somebody should spank him. That's what they should do. They should put him over their knee and they should spank Zach Wilson. That's what they should do.
Spank his.
Yeah, that's what should happen, man. And look, and that's to say, look, I'm rooting for him, right? But it's like the Zach Wilson thing. I'm so sick of it, dude. The kid has done barely anything for us. We've seen what's called flashes. That's all we've ever seen is flashes. He doesn't have a 2 or 3 game stretch where we went, holy shit, not once. One good game, one game where he's conservative. He doesn't make any mistakes. And we go, he's improved. That's the best we can do with him. He's got 1 300-yard game in his entire career. Like, what are we talking about here? He doesn't want to go in. Who cares? But the problem is that the Jets had Tim Boyle and what's his face, Trevor Siemian. And that's the real problem, So anyway, I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably true. But I don't really care. I just think that the Jets should be embarrassed.
Yeah, dude, it just sucks being a fan of this team right now. Like, everything's friggin' embarrassing about this entire team. Everything we do, like, you can't even get the number 2 pick right after having the number 3 pick wrong. Like, it's just one thing after another. And one thing I will say, Green Bean, you brought it up real briefly there at the beginning, was if this was known through the locker room last week, and like Joe Douglas doesn't normally have leaks and things like that, the fact that it's been out there potentially for a week and we're only hearing about it now is actually like not that bad. It's actually like somewhat kind of impressive if you ask me, but I don't know. Like, could the Jets have done him any better or worse? I feel like Zach did get a raw deal from a coaching perspective, like with Nap passing and first-time offensive coordinator, first-time head coach, first-time quarterback coach. And then when they try to fix it, it goes catastrophically wrong with Rodgers getting hurt. So, like, to some degree, I do feel bad for Zach. But if he's really telling the team, hey, I'm not going out there, like that flips the script. That's totally, Bush League. Yeah, that's not good. It's not good. I feel like, who do we think we're going to see this week as the starter? Do you think it's going to be Simeon? Do you think it's like Rippon since he knows the offense? Do you think Zach goes out there and plays and they just kind of brush all this under the rug to get through it? I mean, really the best case scenario, what the Jets should be telling Zach Wilson is like, shut your fucking mouth, get out there and play, and absolutely do whatever you can to win, because we're going to trade your ass in the offseason. And you need to help yourself and ourselves and everything like that. Literally the best thing of this whole situation is that the Jets look so fucking incompetent that we might actually get a draft pick back for Zach Wilson because someone's going to feel bad for us. Honestly.
If anyone gives up a draft pick for Zach Wilson, they should be immediately fired.
Yeah.
I think someone
agree.
would I would throw a sixth, like a late round pick for the high upside that like the Jets just suck at developing quarterbacks. Like, because you're not even banking on Zach at that point. You're banking on the incompetence of us that has like a 50-year track record.
Well, it worked for Sam. That's exactly why Joe Douglas got those picks for Sam, a second, a fourth, and a sixth. That's exactly why. It was like the Jets' incompetence, Adam Gase, the whole thing. They ruined Sam. Give him to me. I'll coach this kid. You saw.
Yeah,
it might work.
It's the same playbook, right? I mean, a different playbook because Sam was like the model citizen. He was like everything you wanted from a mentality of a quarterback, just with like all the garbage of Adam Gase and like what that regime was at that point in time, which in hindsight is the golden era of this particular iteration of uniform. I hope we burn these things to the ground and we never see this fucking uniform after this season.
Dude, it's right. They need to clean it, right? Like next year, just right. Have a ceremonial burning and burn them right on the field, on the turf, so we can melt
on the new
all
grass.
The rubber balls.
I want a scorch mark on our new grass.
Right, and fucking put and rip it up and put real grass in. That's what they should be doing. Bunch of scrubs our organization is these days.
So there was a rat in the building. Is it Boyle, Green Bean?
Yeah, I would think he's got a good chance being the fella that did it, the songbird, if you will. Right? Why not? I mean, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
The story I heard was that, and this is all hearsay. It's not like some inside source, some anonymous source or anything like that. But just the story I heard was that Zach was commiserating with Boyle because both of them got benched, and it was just like a easy conversation to have between the two of them, and it got out. It could have been maybe Boyle didn't think he was doing anything bad or whatever. But after kind of seeing everything and hearing that, it's like, all right, I think Boyle probably did it. Maybe not on purpose, but like this isn't good. Not great.
Well,
Matt,
and you
Boyle
know
the
what?
rat. Oh, go on.
Well,
man.
and you know what? I'm sorry, but just to and what if that is the case? If they're commiserating, and Zach just goes, man, if they ask me to play, I'm going to tell them to go screw. You know what I mean? Like we all have conversations like that. You know, that could be all it is.
What the phrasing is, I think, like because the way you said it, yeah, fuck that guy. Like sorry, like no, I don't want to hear that. But if he says like, dude, they don't want me here. Like they booed me out of the stadium twice. I'm getting water bottles thrown at me. Like they don't want me here. Like they're gonna put me out there purely just to get injured. Like that's all it is. And like, I mean, I get how he's probably feeling. I don't know. This shit sucks. It just really blows.
Zach's a pussy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little hard to have sympathy when we get told to KYS over our takes and we don't have $35 million in the bank.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. I would like that. You guys could throw a water bottle at me if I could have $35 million. That sounds fantastic. You could throw multiple water bottles. You could spank me, Green Bean. You could spank me.
Right. 35 mil. Take a couple spanks.
Oh, jeez. All right. Let's see what our chat has to say about all this. Jace Odom pops in with the super chat. Thank you so much, dude. Says, we cool with going all in for next year, even if it means a rebuild right after. Roll Tide. Sorry, FSU. Not really. I'm a Jets fan, so I have zero sympathy. So I guess real quick on the whole college football thing, I think Alabama and Georgia are definitely two of the best teams in the country, but it's hard to see how FSU can, like, you know, as a Power 5 school, win their entire schedule that's put in front of them and just snickle fritz. I can't wait for the expanded playoffs. I'm looking forward to it. Then we don't have to have as many conversations because it's a lot less impactful. Like we'll be talking about teams, what was it, 12, 13, 14, or whatever the new format's going to be. But yeah, look, I think I'm all in on the rebuild. All in on the rebuild. I'm going all in for next year. But I think, like my mock offseason, I do want to prep in some capacity for the future beyond Rodgers as well. Matt, your thoughts?
I don't think they need a complete rebuild. I think their roster's going to look pretty good. They're just going to need a quarterback, but you should be able to have assets.
So he said go all in for next year, even if that means a rebuild right after. So he's saying even if we have to rebuild in 2025. So I worded that incorrectly initially when I asked you. So not a rebuild, but would you go all in for next year, even if it means just hitting the reset button in 2025?
I mean, I guess I do think that there's too much talent on this defense to tear it down and not try with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know if I'm necessarily like sticking to the absolutely tear it down, but I do think that they should go in while Aaron Rodgers is here, and I do believe he's going to be here next year.
Yeah, Green Bean, you pushing all the chips into the center of the table next year?
Yep. We're here, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to commit. Like the whole thing was built in a very specific way. We lost the linchpin to it and everything crumbled, right? We fell back and we saw it last year. Does this not feel like 2022? I mean, it's like it just started earlier. This skid, this hapless offense that can't do anything. Yes, maybe it's a little bit worse statistically, but it's the same thing. So we're already here. You're already committed. You're already paying the money. You already have the defense. They're all under contract, except for, CJ Mosley, Carl Lawson. There's a few guys, but the larger core of it's intact. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Breece Hall.
Mosley is under contract for 2 more years.
What's that?
Mosley's under contract for at least 1 more. I think it's 2 more seasons, though. He's got a monster cap hit, so I think he'll get reworked, but he is under contract.
Yeah, all right. Well, there you go. Well, Carl Lawson's going to be gone. Who else is going to be gone?
Lawson's a void. Corey Davis is off the books.
Whitehead, I believe.
What was that?
Whitehead, I believe.
Whitehead's a void contract, and
there's
1 more. There's 3 voids. Who's the other one?
Dwayne Brown?
Right now. Dwayne Brown. There it is. Yep. So all those guys are voided contracts. And then you have free agents like Becton and Huff and all those guys.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about like on the defense. It's like, the whole the lion's share of the defense is young and intact, and you still have stars like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson on the team. It's like, you realize and acknowledge and own the mistakes, your overconfidence, your hubris going into this year, and you don't draft a Will McDonald in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You draft something to help this offense, to help the guy that you're bringing in to save your franchise. And I think, I have to believe that they're learning a lot of lessons right now. Unless Joe Douglas is just driving on a convertible up to PCH, out of Malibu. He's just like, woo, wait, what's going on? I don't give a shit. I don't have to be talked to the press until another 2 months.
That pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. Like, I want answers from Douglas right now. Like, they're throwing Sal out there, like, week after week and, like, being the bullet sponge for the reporters. Like, I want Douglas to answer for this stuff right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the most for Saleh out of everyone, like, over Douglas or Zach. And I'm not saying that Robert Saleh doesn't have a hand in this. I'm not saying he's been great, but he's the one who has to answer to the media 3-4 times a week, while Joe Douglas talks to them 3 times a year, and it's all off-ball questions at the combine and at the bottom.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Smart.
Boys and girls, eBoogie drops in with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, Ryan, freeze yourself. So if you guys toss in a $20 super chat, you do get one of these cool things. I'll read the super chat and then I'll see myself out. Question, do you guys see the Jets next year fixing everything or something to the team? Do you guys see the Jets next year fixing everything or something to the team? Well, I'll let you guys figure that out. I'm going to freeze myself.
Okay, hold on. Let me read. Second time. Do you guys see the Jets next year fixing to the team? I don't get the last part, Bean. What does he mean, something to the team?
I'll tell you what he means. 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢's a good buddy of mine. I love 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢. I hang out with him on Wednesday nights in the Beanbagger Discord thing. He's saying, are we going to fix everything or something to the team, Matt? That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Well, when you put it that way, I think they're going to try to essentially run back as much of the defense as humanly possible and then put in any and all other resources into offensive line and wide receiver. At least that's what I would do, and I think that's what a smart general manager would do, because they do have a talented RB1. They have a talented wide receiver 1. They don't have a lot of depth at wide receiver, and they obviously need some work on the offensive line. So I think that's where the resources should and will go.
Yeah, well, I agree, man. And I think, the people saying blow it up, it's not that I don't understand it and I don't respect it and all that sort of stuff. But again, my big question is this for everybody. Were you not excited about this team September 10th? Were you not in on this team September 10th? Now, we had concerns. I know I had mine, but I was in. I thought legitimately we're going to be able to stomp some teams this year. Now, maybe we don't, kick everybody's ass. We're not the best team, but we're going to beat the living shit out of some teams with this defense and Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. We're going to kick the shit out of people. And it didn't happen that way. We got 4 plays of that, not even 1 completion. So the apple cart got overturned, man. And we're left trying to find all our apples, and all the little poor kids are running around trying to grab them. You're chasing kids around the streets. That's what's happening right now. It's madness. It's utter madness right now. But were we not excited? So that's the thing. And I think Joe Douglas had a piss poor offseason, in my opinion. Whether his attempts that didn't work. You like to bring up Orlando Brown a lot, Ryan. Mm-hmm. Good swing and a miss. I like to bring up the fact that he never got a quarterback 2. You guys know I did not want Zach as quarterback 2. Truth is, I didn't want Zach at all. But if you're going to do it, fine. Then you got to get a Teddy Bridgewater or Jacoby Brissett, a Minshew, somebody in here that if Rodgers falls, you're not going back to what we saw last year. Give the kid a year and let's see what you can do with him. That's where my focus was, the offensive line concerns. Hopefully Joe Douglas knows where the mistakes were. Like, holy shit, I can't believe I was so confident in Dwayne Brown and the rest. I need to really bolster this thing with some overkill and get him, a couple more wide receivers. If he does that, I think we're rebuilt and I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a free agent and a rookie wide receiver and a free agent and a rookie offensive lineman as well, at least tackle-wise. I think we're going to go, I don't want to say overload, but I think it's definitely going to be, hey, last year we kind of used our assets to get Rodgers, and we kind of sat in this waiting formation until the trade was made, so we couldn't really attract the free agents, like saying, we might get Rodgers at some point, which is why we lost Orlando Brown in the first place. So it's going to be a little different this offseason. At least we kind of sort of know where we're headed, I guess. Tyler, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I 1,000% agree with Green Bean. Green Bean's spitting facts right now. He wants to spank everyone.
That's right. It's time for a spanking, Tyler. It's good to see you, dude. It's good to see Tyler. He's way down there, down under, man. He's far away, that guy.
Steven comes in with a super chat. Thank you. Says, I get they had to try something else, but you guys aren't blind. He was definitely best quarterback available. He's not good, but Hackett needs to go. So I think Hackett is a big problem. I mean, I think Zach's got to go too at this point. I don't think... So for me, in retrospect, I thought Zach had the highest ceiling. I thought Simeon had the highest floor. I thought during the Charger game was the game I would have made Simeon active as quarterback 2 in the event you needed to pull Zach at that point. And they didn't do it. They just kind of kept dragging their feet. And apparently Trevor Simeon is garbage too, so I'm wrong on that one. Robert Saleh was right. He played the best quarterback he had until they were realistically, mathematically eliminated. Sure, there was like the 1% chance, like in Buffalo or whatever it was. But I think Saleh played the correct quarterback, for the entire time. It just sucks. Matt, any thoughts on this?
I don't understand why it's so taboo to try something different at the quarterback position when the guy you were playing had 6 touchdowns to 12 turnovers. And then like the thought that you can't try something and then maybe even go back to that guy is just so bizarre to me. Is it because he was taken second overall? I guess so, right? But like the defense that he gets is just truly, truly wild to me. And I mean, Hackett's not good. Hackett is not a good offensive coordinator. The offensive line is not good. The receivers outside of Garrett Wilson is not good. Like all those things have to happen. I saw a stat. Sorry, I feel like I'm going all over the place, but you guys
go
are
for it. Let's hear it. Vent
Zach
session, baby.
Zach Rosenblatt had a tweet, I believe it was yesterday, where he referenced True Media, and they've tracked offense in the NFL since the year 2000. So this is 2000 through the 2023 season. That's 24 seasons if you're counting 2000 in this one. The 2023 Jets offense is 766th out of 766 teams in offensive EPA. Like, in order for something like that to happen, it has to be quarterback, play caller, offensive line, weapons. It's obviously not just one thing, but changing the play caller in season was not a realistic option. And they're not getting a wide receiver help or offensive line help after the trade deadline. So your only choice was to try a different quarterback. They did that. It didn't work. You should be able to, in theory, again, go back to Zach Wilson, but I don't understand where the hostility of this one really comes from.
Greenby, what about you? Any thoughts on, Zach being the best quarterback that we had at our disposal this year?
Well, I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, I think that's what Saleh was saying. Remember when we were all talking about why is he so committed and supportive of Zach? He's saying he's the best quarterback on the team, gives us the best chance to win. And we talked about it. It was like, well, it's not necessarily saying I think Zach's the best quarterback. He's the best guy here. Let me tell you. I don't excuse me. I don't think that's too far-fetched. But the thing is, Trevor Siemian, like you said, he should have been elevated to number 2. Tim Boyle never should have seen the field, period. He's not an NFL quarterback. And the idea that if he is the leak, what a little turd, man. Like, you get this opportunity where nobody else is going to give it to you because you know somebody, Hackett's your Uncle Hacky, you call him. That's how you got on the field, and then you turn around and you throw stones because you're petty. Like, that's just it, man. Like, no good deed goes unpunished, everybody. And that's the way it goes. But, look, we gave Trevor Siemian 12 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He didn't look good. Don't get me wrong. But maybe a week with the ones, maybe some time to, acclimate. I don't know. It's funny. Like, we give Zach 3.5 or 2.5 years. We give Tim Boyle 2.5 games, and we give Trevor Siemian 12 minutes, and we're like, he sucks too. I mean, I'm not singing his praises, but maybe, just maybe, we give him a second and see if he's not the best quarterback on the roster.
Yeah, I feel like Saleh was trying not to do something like too rash in an emotional rage that he was in yesterday. Like that, he just looked like heated at that press conference. I don't blame him. If all the stuff Rossini's saying is true, it feels like it is at the very least. I mean, it's just brutal. Just absolutely brutal. 𝐒𝐿𝐫 comes in and says, went to the Buffalo and Atlanta game. Fudge Zach Wilson. Shirt, please. 𝐒𝐿𝐫, you are entered into our shirt jersey giveaway at the end of the stream. And if you guys are watching after the fact, make sure you timestamp this video. We're going to be pulling our qualifiers for this week's stream, along with our super chatters, from the people who timestamped last week's video. Pat Dunn comes in and says, Sam threw 19 touchdowns in 2019. Like Bean said, Zach has 21 in 3 years. It is over. Pat spitting facts.
Yeah.
RJ McPott comes in, says, hate to say it, but Zach gives off Game of Thrones Joffrey vibes. He seems like a 3-car garage kid kind of now, doesn't he?
Can I do a secret? Can I do a secret time confession on here?
Love it. Let's go.
This is a safe space, right? No one ever
Sure.
says anything hostile. Don't mean on
Nope.
the internet towards
Right.
the
Yeah.
right?
This is private.
No
This
DMs.
is very private. Mm-hmm.
It's only us three and RJ.
I've never watched Game of Thrones. I'm not really a fantasy guy,
okay.
and never really interested.
All right. Well, look, if you're not into like that sort of stuff, it's the best part of Game of Thrones is the political stuff. Like that's my favorite part. Like, yeah, there's the sex and the gore and the fighting and everything, but the political stuff where like Tyrion is like there's chess pieces. Like, it's if you like strategy and stuff, that for the first like probably 5 seasons, really good.
You know what's good about it, Matt? Like number one, I hear you. You're not alone. I will join you, and I will admit something worse. You ready? I have no penis. Yes. No, I have. I've never.
Clip it. Timestamp.
I have no penis. It's gone. I don't know where it went. But I never watched The Sopranos.
That blows my mind.
I just finished season 1. I just started it. 2 weeks ago.
Green Bean, I am there with you. I have not watched The Sopranos either.
Ready?
Oh my god! And I got the Italian and the Jersey guy who's never seen it, and me. Nick from Long
I'm
Island
not Italian. I'm like 95% Irish. I didn't watch the Italian stuff. I don't know.
Jersey one. Green
well, you know what it is, but you're Jersey though too. Yeah, you're Jersey.
Yeah. Sopranos came out in what? 2000.
You know what it was?
I was 10.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that'll do it.
I have it downloaded.
For me, it was like. Yeah, I mean, it's so. I got to be honest. You know, it's good. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's season 1. You know what I mean? I just started season 2. I'm like 2 episodes maybe, but I don't know. It doesn't. The Wire. That's another one I never saw. I never watched that either.
It's definitely.
You know what I don't like? I don't love crime shit. I just don't like it. I don't like murder. I don't like it. You know what I mean? I'd rather live in fantasy. But let me say this, Matt. You know what's great about Game of Thrones? And this is the reason I like it. By the way, the books are significantly better than the show. The show is really amazing. Mm-hmm. But the first 4 seasons are really lockstep with the book, though, too. They do a great job. But what's great about Game of Thrones is no character has plot immunity. None. Mm-hmm. Like, you think this guy's the main character? You think he's dead. You know what I mean?
Whack.
Like, and it happens 100 times, right? I'm telling you, man.
It's unreal.
You're like, no, not him. You know, not her.
So
fucking crazy, man.
Let's go through with Matt who Joffrey is. So Joffrey is the king in Game of Thrones. He's a little shithead kid that is born of incest and like just a nasty, like he's the kid like killing gerbils in the backyard. Like that's that fucking kid.
He's a torture. Yeah, he likes to torture people and shit.
He's not a good dude. So, but he's like bright blonde hair and everything. Like, I didn't catch that.
Like Sid from Toy Story with the toys, burning a hole in both eyeballs.
Yes, he is a
exactly.
The royalty Sid basically.
Okay,
right.
Lucky Leo comes in with super.
Think about it.
Why? Oh, go on.
Sorry, go on.
No.
Okay, I was going to say, imagine Sid with the power to have thousands of people perform his torture for him, and they can't say anything about it. You know what I mean? Like that. Think about Sid with unlimited power.
He has a million of those crane, like fishing pole fucking things running around. Lucky Leo comes in and says, why is Zach still on the team when we know the Jets know that it's over? Why is he on the roster? What an embarrassment. I believe the report. So he's definitely on the roster because I think the Jets were trying to save face and trying to get some kind of draft pick for him. This has the potential of really just nuking itself and not ending in any kind of pick. Like I think he's probably going to end up getting released. I think they'll deactivate him to the end of the season if this doesn't smooth out over the next day or so. Matt, what do you think? Why is Zach still on the roster?
I don't know. The Jets do dumb shit.
Green Bean, why is Zach on the roster?
I mean, why was Tim Boyle on the roster? I mean, it's a funny thing. Like, once again, I just want to point this out. We get told as a fan base all the time that we don't know. We know. We say things that should happen weeks, months, years before they actually happen, but they happen. And this is another one. We said in the beginning of the year, Tim Boyle is nothing more than a guy to help implement the system and, do all that, right? When we decided to keep him, we said, okay, well, QB3 is really a practice squad quarterback. No big deal. He's there to run the scout team. And what? When they put him to number 2, every single Jets fan said, why is he, okay, the first week, why aren't we getting a quarterback? Tim Boyle can't be the number 2. Then we signed Trevor Siemian, by the way, the quarterback none of us had on our list, by the way. All the quarterbacks we were talking about, I don't think I ever heard one person say Siemian. I really didn't.
Nope. I definitely did not think of
everything from Kaepernick, Wentz, Cam Newton, all kinds of guys were thrown out. I didn't hear Siemian, but Joe Douglas found him, and we said, ooh, okay. he's at least he can play. He should immediately be the number 2. They waited 2 months to make him the number 2. But we knew we should, and then now we're saying Tim Boyle sucks. He sucks week. And now they cut him. Like, no shit, man. You know what I mean? So that's where we are. So why is Zach on the roster, Leo? Because Tim Boyle was on the roster. That's all I got. That's the best I can come up with, man. I'm shot.
Just a guy.
The best was this is what you wanted, right? You guys got Tim Boyle. This is what you wanted. He's like, no, I promise you, no one asked for Tim Boyle. Everyone said he's not a rosterable in August. Like, what do you mean?
Oh, dude, I'm totally on board with that. It's like, why did we not see Siemian? Siemian should have been quarterback too, as soon as he was up to speed. Just a guy comes in, Green Bean. He's saying, so did you read all the books, Green Bean, for Game of Thrones?
Yes.
So
I read every book at least twice.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't get through the last one. Not the last one. The last one's not out. The last 2 aren't out, but I didn't finish 5.
Right, I know you mean.
Lady
Stoneheart.
Yeah. Yeah, tell him about Lady Stoneheart. We won't talk about
Lady Stoneheart. Yeah, Lady Stoneheart never made it into the show.
Correct.
She never made it into the show.
I thought she was going to, but
she's such a great character, man.
They teased it.
I don't want to say it because if Matt watches it, like, you don't want to blow this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, watching it's one thing. But I will say, it's a great character though, just a guy, and that's a good pull, by the way. That's a deep cut, man. It's a deep cut
for sure. Sky C comes in with a super chat, says, is this Salah's D or Ulbricht's or both? I can see Ulbricht possibly getting a head coaching job. If so, can you see Salah taking over as defensive coordinator, or we elevate another from within, or we start over with another D coordinator from outside? I think we would elevate someone from within if we decided to keep Salah. There's an outside shot. I think you could see Ulbricht elevated to head coach if like the head coaching shit goes like completely sideways and like we just lose out the rest of the season and it just snowballs. They may have to pull the plug just to pull the plug. And at least keeping Ulbricht should keep the defense, intact with the play calling and everything like that. And then you just got to get like an offensive guy in, unless Hackett's just going to be that. But, yeah, I would think we'd elevate someone from within. Matt, what do you think would happen? Do you think we lose Ulbricht for a head coaching job?
I think let's assume, because from everything we've heard, we're assuming that in some capacity, Nathaniel Hackett, Robert Saleh, and Joe Douglas will be back next year. And if for whatever reason they lose Ulbricht, I would promote Tony Oden to defensive coordinator. So I would promote from within. I think even if it's not Oden, which would be my preference, I think there are probably 2 or 3 positional coaches who could be promoted to defensive coordinator on this staff.
I agree. I think that would be a great move. Green Bean, what about you? Do we think Ulbricht gets pulled for a head coaching job, or what do you think winds up happening with the defensive side of the ball?
I think he's definitely a guy to consider, but I think the fact that like his team is now starting to crack, right? Like they didn't against the Falcons, but they're the Falcons. But the last 2 weeks, Miami and Buffalo, they're starting to kind of, we saw a little bit last year, they're starting to not be able to hold up the whole game. And I think that will taint what he's doing. And that might, it's hard to justify hiring the coordinator from the 4-13 Jets. You know what I'm saying? It's just hard to justify that. So I would say probably not, but I would also say if he does, I would think Tony Oden is next man up. If not, maybe they just put Rob Calabrese over there. I mean, he's never done quarterback. Why not?
Oh,
His quarterbacks sure know how to get interceptions.
He's doing great. He's a fucking great. That guy, I mean, clearly he knows what he's doing.
Oh, God. Nose Kills comes in and says, positive. Jets offense was so bad the refs don't get attention. Disgusting how Atlanta realized flopping is the best way to get a touchdown. Surratt flagged for illegal use of helmet. He's wearing it. The penalties in this past game, like, we've had a lot of penalties since the bye week, but we had 11 penalties for 71 yards, and probably like 4 or 5 of them were like phantom fucking penalties that made no damn sense to me whatsoever. Green Bean, I know you were going off on it.
Well, first of all, I never heard of illegal use of the helmet, like said like that. I just never heard of that. So that's that. But then when they showed it, there was no helmet used, period. You know what I mean? It was a shoulder to the chest. So I just don't. And then there was the one where DJ Reed got called. He fucking his shoulder to the armpit.
Yeah. And then Garrett Wilson
what is
popped,
happening?
like the next drive.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, look, it's tough. You know, you just hate to be like, oh, the refs, when you're clearly inept, right? Like, you don't want to talk about the refs when your team is just incapable of putting the ball in the end zone. But at the same time, their only touchdown was gifted. That drive was a gift drive. It was just, a personal foul. They just marched them down the field. And that's the worst because they couldn't score either. And who knows, maybe we do win, an 8-6 game or something like that. And that sucks, but still a win. And that might be the little shot you need to start believing in something. And who knows, you know what I mean? And it keeps it alive for Rodgers. And, there's a lot. That was a big one. So, I don't know what those calls were, man. It was ugly. Now, what is if Jets was so bad, the refs don't get it? Yeah. Discussing how Atlanta realized flopping. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't know. No skills. It was it's just brutal, man. Like it's everything at this point, right? There's nothing like, it's almost funny. Like that's what I'm starting to go into like I'm rooting
before
for
Shay
losses
goes to bed and she's like delirious. Like that's where we're at as a fan base.
Right. Yeah. That's how I feel.
happy.
Feels like slap happy. Remember how much fun the tank was until we won? We were so mad. It was like losing a playoff game.
Dude, I'm going to be mad week 18 if we beat the Patriots. I'm going to be like upset at this point. This pain, I want something good at the end of it.
I might get there because right now I don't want to do complete spoiler alert for tomorrow's Just Jets, but that gets brought up and I'm still in numb land. Like if they lose, I'm like, all right, better draft pick. But if they win, I'm like, all right, well, most of this core is going to be here next year. Like they can't really go on a 10-game losing streak after going on a 6-game losing streak to end their season last year. Right. But if it's week 18 and it's, Jets Pats for the number 2 pick in the draft, I'm probably going to get myself around to talking about, the tank going all the way.
Mm-hmm. I would say so. Ryan S. comes in with a super chat, says, Rodgers is the rat, tried to save Boyle by throwing wing Zach under the bus. Get out of here. Stop it, Ryan.
Yeah, he's fucking around. He's playing.
He is. Lucky Leo comes in and says, to me, Zach is not playing for the team. It's about himself. How many times did the defense save his ass and he acts like this? He's not a team player. I would say if he had those same sentiments that we are hearing about right now, he's definitely not a team player. And I don't think the defense, I can't imagine they're super thrilled if he's saying, I don't want to go back out there when the defense is like, hey, we're putting our ass on the line every fucking time out here and your ass doesn't want to go out there. We're all fighting for a paycheck.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, and you know what? Please, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sorry, Greenbeat, to cut you off. I was just going to say it's incredibly disrespectful if that's the case, because what the defense has gone through the last 2 years in particular with this inept offense, like they held the Falcons to 13 points and they still lost.
And the Jets scored 2.
They gave up,
the defense gave them 2 points.
Yeah, thank you. The defense safe for the 3rd time this year. They have almost as many first quarter touchdowns as the first quarter safeties versus first quarter
Oh no, the stat on the screen was it's more safeties than offensive touchdowns in the first quarter.
Oh my God.
The defense should do like Rudy, like hand their jerseys in, but like the opposite and be like, if Zach doesn't want to play, we're also not playing. Fuck this.
Dude, Aaron Donald. I'm sitting here watching, I think I don't know if it was Sunday Night Football or maybe one of the late 4:00 games. I'm sitting here watching the end of the Rams game, and Aaron Donald gets a safety and the 6 seconds left, 10 seconds left, whatever's left in the game. And they're like, wow, this is the first safety that the Rams have gotten since 2020. I was like, we got 3 in the first quarter this year. This defense is damn elite.
Yeah.
Like, I'm losing my damn mind. And it's, you're lucky if you get 1 safety a year. We got 3 in the first half of the season.
I'm with you, man. This defense, dude, they can't do enough. In the Miami game, the offense was doing nothing. They gave them 6 points, and then we couldn't give them the extra point. And then they picked it again to stop Miami from getting a 2-minute, drive at the end of the half. They picked it again, and the offense goes, oh, thanks for the ball. We get 1 play. Hail Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how frustrating that is for the defense and for Zach to I mean, you know what's really bothersome too, man, is I have to admit, like, while I've been hard on Zach, I feel like when he got benched, he came to the podium and like he said all the right things. He's not, dude, I'm not scoring. Well, of course. And then he said he's going to do everything he can to help Tim Boyle succeed. That was 2 weeks ago. Now, maybe he was saying that because he was so psyched that he didn't have to be out there anymore. He's all excited. Like, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can over here. I'm going to be good. I'm good as a number 2, baby. Maybe that's what he was doing. But it sucks because to hear this is contrary to, like, the way he handled it. I was like, you know what, man? He has matured some. I'm not afraid to give him props when props are due. Like, my response to Zach Wilson has very much been situational. I could be like, man, that was the worst play I've ever seen. He comes out and he throws. I'm like, they're good shit, Zach. You know what I mean? It's purely based on what he's doing. I don't hate him. I don't love him. I think he happens to suck because of what I've seen. 21 touchdowns in 3 years, dude. Okay? Anybody saying otherwise? The other thing is, if you want to know how good or bad Zach is, look at the way every single defense in the NFL plays the New York Jets for the past 3 years. That tells you if the quarterback is good. Okay? That's it. That's all you need to know. So, but it's a bummer that he kind of sounded like that 2 weeks ago, and now he's like this. It sucks.
Dude, you thought he was maturing right in front of our eyes after the press conference at the the Patriot game at the end of last year, and like you could actually like be proud of what Zach was, and like honestly, when I heard he might be refusing to go back in, I felt bad. My short that I like threw up there was like, man, dude, I'm almost like I'm on Team Zach. Like we fucking did him dirty. And then like everything just keeps coming out. And I'm like, man, that's wrong. That's the wrong take to have on this one. That is not right. Not good. Not good. Mutt Viles comes in with super chat, says, sup boy, Ryan, I have 2 tickets to Sunday's game. If you want to give them away. Zach's benching made no sense. Not shocked. If he doesn't play Sunday, let Zach ball. So Mutt Viles, we actually have, let me throw this up real quick.
Zach's benching made no sense.
He said Zach's benching made no sense because he's the best quarterback on the roster. I think that's what he's trying to say.
You got to make a point, though. Even if you just put him back the next week, you got to make a point. You got to. Mutt Viles.
So we actually have 2 tickets to Jets-Texans. I did see 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 Lake type in the ticket emoji. I don't know if you caught that one, Green Bean. But if you guys want tickets to Jets-Texans, we're giving away 2 tickets.
I didn't catch any of that shit. Is he the only one that did it so far?
That's the only one I caught. So if anyone else wants tickets, throw the little ticket emoji in there. We're going to do a raffle at the end of the night to see who gets it. But someone's going to win 2 tickets. We don't have any parking pass, so you'd have to get a parking pass or take a bus or a train or a helicopter.
All right, guys.
Spaceship.
Put the tickets in there. I didn't see anything. I didn't see any of those. I've been doing the other thing.
That's all right. But yeah, Matt, what do you think? Everybody. You think Zach's benching made no sense?
No. I don't. He had 6 touchdowns to 12 turnovers in 9 or 10 games, whatever the hell it was. He wasn't the full problem. I don't think anyone rationally was saying that Zach Wilson is the entire problem, but they could not change the play caller in season. That was not a realistic change to make. They punted on bringing another quarterback in here. They punted on bringing in any other offensive lineman or wide receiver. So you couldn't upgrade there. The only thing they could do to make a change was to change the quarterback and let Zach ball. Like, we've seen Zach throw the ball a lot, and it hasn't always looked pretty. Like, I don't know that taking the training wheels fully off, like, I don't know. We've seen him throw 50 times in a game. It wasn't pretty. I think he's just at this point where he wants to take the check. And part of it is because of how he was coached too. Let's not, also discredit the Jets factor in this. They did play a role here, but I just think he's broken. And if he's ever going to have any success in this league, which I highly, highly, highly doubt, it's not going to be here.
Hype comes in, says, I believe turnaround for the offense would be to hire a run game coordinator and a pass game coordinator. Let them do the creativity. Sit Hackett. So I do think you have to bring in some type of offensive mind. I would love to bring in Frank Reich as an assistant head coach. I would love to bring in maybe Josh McCown to be his passing game coordinator or quarterbacks coach or whatever, because they're both out in Carolina. Maybe this is a way Reich could be a head coach again. But at the same time, he's getting paid. He's got like a 4 or 5 year contract that he doesn't have to do anything and get paid. But Green Bean, would you add some offensive firepower to this staff in the offseason?
Well, I will say, though, we do have a running game coordinator. His name is Keith Carter, and we do have a passing game coordinator. His name is, what the hell's his name again?
Downing?
Oh, I just was talking.
Downing.
Yeah. So we do have that, though, Hype. But yeah, I'd be all about hiring Frank Reich. I mean, we like guys who were fired twice in the last 2 years, so that works for me. I think that's
he got
the best
fired
way
from
to
Carolina because he wanted Stroud and the ownership wanted Young.
You think?
That's what's coming out. I
think it's because
seems like
they
it's right.
suck. I don't know.
I'm sure that's part of
whatever.
it. They traded up all those picks for a 5'10" quarterback. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It was stupid. But I will say this: Frank Reich is light years better than what we have. I would happily take him. And by the way, Frank Reich has already burned the Jets, so that also works for me.
Did he?
When did he do that?
He was the quarterback of the '96 Jets, the 1-15 team, dude.
I thought you meant burnt as like a coach. I got you.
No, like burnt as in this is like we're talking about Zach Wilson. That's how we were talking about Frank
Zach
Reich.
Wilson can be our quarterback coach in 20 years. It'll be great. Matt,
that's what happens.
What if
so beautiful?
What can I sell you on something? Not that it's perfect, but let's assume that Hackett has to be here in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Can they move him to like quarterback coach and just put and Calabrese to the Sun and then hire a real offensive coordinator? Like,
that'd be great. That feels almost like people when they said like, can we demote Rex to defensive coordinator from head coach? Like, I feel like OC down to quarterback coach is a similar, like a cousin of the demotion of a head coach.
I just can't. Yeah, you can't, because then it's like you're going to bring in a new offense at this point, and then Aaron Rodgers has to, you know what I mean? Like, you want him to be in the comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I hear you. I like it for this year.
Reassigned. Hackett is his Rodgers coffee boy.
Witness protection.
Ray Danger comes in, says, I don't think rebuild a team with a top 5 defense. So that was a super chat from earlier when we were talking about possibly rebuilding after this year, but going all in. I think rebuild was probably the wrong word in the other super chat. Tony says, demote Hackett to water boy. Oh man, can he even hold water? I don't know. Darrell24 comes in and says, trade Jermaine Johnson. We could get the same return as Jamal. Will McDonald as a replacement for JJ. Use the first and second to go get offensive help. I love JJ, but work must get done. If you saw Hard Knocks /One Jets Drive. So I really like really like Jermaine Johnson. I don't want to trade him anywhere. He's a homegrown talent. I would rather franchise tag Huff, go all in for next year, and then reassess whether you're going to try and like trade McDonald for a loss and keep Huff, or if you're going to be able to extend Huff or have to trade him after next year. I would franchise tag and just not do anything to the defensive side of this team. Matt, you first.
If Joe Douglas is half as good as what some Jet fans put him on the pedestal to be, he should be able to fix the offense without having to trade Jermaine Johnson to get extra draft assets to do it.
I'm going to put my hand here so we can try to high five. Can
Okay.
I high five that? Other way.
No, wrong. Yeah.
There we go. See?
No, but like you can't, Jermaine. It's so hard to find homegrown talent, right? And you trade up for this stud. He's so good. He has the year 2 leap, and then you're gonna pull the trigger on a trade. Like, I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me.
Mm-hmm. Green Bean, what about you? What do you think about Jermaine Johnson?
How about this, Terrell? How about we just get up to pick 3? We just say, screw this. We let Zach keep playing so everybody can just blame everything else but him for no touchdowns. We just stick him back in there. We drag him back in, and he goes, please, I don't want to go. You say, you're fucking playing. And you stick him in the huddle, and you jam the ball in his face, and then you don't block, and he gets – you do that all the rest of the year. We get pick number 3, and then we trade back like we were supposed to do in 2021 in a quarterback-rich draft. You get 3 firsts and a third. You slide back. You get a stud, and then you get studs. We gain a second this year, a first next year, and you do all that. That's how you do it. You get Aaron Rodgers, a receiver, the third tackle on the board at pick 8 or whatever it is that you got to slide back to. And that's how you do it. How about that? How about we keep Jermaine Johnson and we get some more studs and we fortify the team for next year and the year after that with first-round picks, all because Zach Wilson sucks so bad that we got almost his pick back this year because we chose to play him. How's that sound?
So Darrell actually had another super chat. So I'm going to rip through a few because I see that we're a little behind. So I'll go back to Darrell's first one. He says, trade JJ, feel like you get the return. So I appreciate the super chat, and I'm sorry that it took so long to get to this one. Just got a lot of people voicing their opinion tonight. E-Rock comes in and says, Rodgers still seems fully bought in. Is he just willing? Hold on. Rodgers still seems fully bought in. Is he just willing it to be real now, or does he actually believe in this roster? I also don't blame Zach if true. I think Rodgers is bought in for the trying to win it all here. I think he, after being here a year, probably understands certain issues that are going on with the team and areas that you'd like to improve. Obviously, red zone threat, getting some more offensive linemen in here, the injuries, all that good stuff. I think there's more than just whatever. But I think he's still bought in. I think he's definitely coming back next year. We're going to try and, make that push for the Super Bowl. Matt, you think Rodgers still all in on the Jets?
Yeah, I definitely do. I am still really impressed with how Rodgers has handled himself since being here. I absolutely think he is all in on the Jets, and I don't know how you can't put any blame on Zach Wilson. I don't get that last part.
The Pack Are Back says, took my nephews to the Jets-Falcons game. Game was rough. Highlight was tailgating with Gary V. Shout out to Gotham City crew in lot J3 for putting it on. The Gotham City crew does a great job. We've been over that way a few years ago now. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But yeah, dude, the highlight for most Jet games, at least in the last 10 years, has been the tailgate. So we're right there with you, Pack. Ace of Spade says, we need an offensive-minded guy off the Finns or Niners. Man, we had our offensive guy from the Niners, and we sacrificed him because Zach Wilson's here. Like, imagine if Mike LaFleur winds up being like some, head coach at some point because he's learning behind McVay, and then that would suck. We need an offensive mind, though. Jorge comes in and says, Zach Wilson is here because there is no downside. If he plays well, we increase his potential trade value. If he shits out, well, that's to be expected. I would agree. And there was no financial incentive for us to cut him. It would have cost us more in dead cap this year. When you're going all in for a year with Rodgers, you don't want to take a $20 million dead cap hit this year. That would have been silly, especially when you have the long shot of like, hey, the worst thing that happens is, Rodgers gets knocked out for the season, which that doesn't happen ever because Rodgers is always healthy. That's where my mindset was with Rodgers. He's going to play every snap. And maybe we see Zach for a game or two. I was fine with that. I really was. And the worst possible thing legitimately happened. And it all went down the damn tubes. But I completely agree with you, Jorge. Julio comes in and says, I've been a Jets fan since 1981, and being tainted by the 5 and 6 Falcons is the lowest feeling I've ever had. That, man, since 1981, that's the 5 and 6 Falcons. That's the one that really hurts the most. There's a lot more in there, I think, that hurt since 1981.
That's recency bias, I think, here.
I was going to say, Matt, what's your most painful memory? And then I want to go to Green Bean in here, his most painful memory from the Jets. Dude, winning against the Rams killed me. I was so pissed. So pissed.
My first Jets heartbreak was Doug Bryan up in Pittsburgh. That really hurt. That was a different kind of pain. Pittsburgh, the championship game up in Pittsburgh, Buffalo,
the championship games.
But I always go back to that first one, man. The Pittsburgh divisional round, Doug Bryan, I think.
Yeah, just because we had so many opportunities to win that game. It was end of regulation, then was it 2 in overtime, or was it just the 1 in overtime? Might have been 1.
It might have been 1.
Yeah, man, those are rough. Recent one for me would be the Rams, I think. Green Bean, what about you? What's your biggest loss or biggest tragedy as a Jet fan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you said the word tragedy, I got to throw Dennis Byrd thing out there. Right? That was huge. But if we're just talking about games, I will tell you that going into the half 10-0 in the AFC Championship game in '98 and losing was big. But I think the 2010 Steelers game was worse for me. Like, I believed that team. I mean, that was the best team in the league, in my opinion. I mean, we had the number 1 line, the number 1 rushing, number 1 defense. Our weakness was Sanchez, but he was able to be contained. You know what I mean? He was able to play within it, and they kind of had a grip on him. He would throw for 160 yards a game. That's all we needed from that guy. But when they came out flat that whole first quarter, they just didn't look like it looked like the Patriots game was their Super Bowl, and it took them a little while to snap into it. And it was too little too late. And Schottenheimer, we ran the ball all the way down, ran it all the way down to the 2-yard line or whatever it was. And dude, the defense was huffing and puffing. They were on their heels, and we start passing the ball and doing trick plays and shit like that. And we blew it. That was the touchdown, dude. And we would have, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That one damn near killed me. I wasn't good. And then watching the 2000, that off season going into 2011, letting Ellis and
Braylon
Edwards,
you retain Holmes,
Brad Smith, letting all those guys go. It was just this culminate. It was just I couldn't believe it. It was the worst. So losing out, going into 2011, then missing that was it for me. That period. And look, we still haven't recovered. Still haven't recovered from it. So that probably was the worst for me.
That's a good moment in time because of what that meant for the franchise at the time. Memory serves, I don't even think Sanchez was that bad in that championship game. It was just kind of the team itself.
He was fine.
Like you said, they played their Super Bowl against the Patriots. That was one of the best games I've ever seen, was the divisional round game against the Patriots. That felt our Super Bowl when we won that game.
Yep.
Ugh, it's brutal. We've got Jet It Out. Jet It Out says, I think we might be on the officials' blacklist for Clemens busting the official's mouth. Look for more weird flags to come. I just don't have any faith in any of the referees this season across multiple games, not just Jet games here. Nicholas comes in and says, hey guys, what are your thoughts?
Ryan,
yeah. Go for it.
Ryan, real quick, just because you said it. So this is how that game went real quick. So The first quarter, the Jets scored 0. The Steelers scored 7. The second quarter, the Jets scored 3, and the Steelers scored 17.
Oh, damn.
The second half, we shut them out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So then we scored 7 and 9. So the 9 was because of a safety. Okay? So it was because of a safety that we got when we failed on that touchdown. They got the ball at the 2, and actually Jason Taylor broke through and got the safety. The final score was 24-19. So you take 2 away, you make it 16 plus 7 is what?
Math is hard right now.
23.
23
plus 7 is 23, right? So we still would have lost, but that would have changed everything. You know what I mean? That literally changed everything. So it was the whole momentum shift for the second half. It was just, I don't know, man. That was the fucking big one. But see how that first half we were completely flat. We did 3 points in a whole half of football in the championship game.
Nicholas comes in. He says, "Hey guys, what are your thoughts on the Joe Benigno Rob Saleh drama with him going back and forth texting with a radio host on a regular basis?" So I don't like it. This is a really big damning indictment on Robert Saleh, in my opinion. And I don't like what Benigno did. I think him airing out personal texts for Robert Saleh, I think it's a dirtbag move. I think it's a scummy thing to do. I would not, if I was any person trying to, I wouldn't want to talk to Joe. And I think a lot of media people have gotten on him for it, but purely from the aspect of like why are you sharing some of the comments that you're sharing? Like here are the head coaches that have won and how many games they have won without their starting quarterback. And I get it. Like Saleh's probably feeling away. Like he got screwed. He got saddled with the worst quarterback room in the league, and Douglas didn't do a thing to help him after Rodgers went down. And he sent him out week after week in front of the press conference, with all the reporters there, and just hung him out to dry. So I get where Saleh's feeling a certain way, but I think those texts may end up costing Robert Saleh his job. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I think it looks bad. It doesn't look good. Matt, I'll throw it to you first, then we'll get Green Bean's take.
Yeah, I am shocked that it took people this long to figure out Joe Benigno's a moron. I just think bad guy. I don't know him personally, but I just always thought he was a little idiotic on the air, and this kind of just adds to that. I don't really care for his woe is me gimmick, but anyway. But also bad on Saleh to feed into that. I see absolutely where you're coming from on it. I don't think you put yourself in that situation, but to me, my interpretation, right? Just knowing Benigno and knowing Robert Saleh, my guess, I don't know. This is a guess. Benigno probably texted him all year, you got to bench Zach, you got to bench Zach, you got to bench Zach. Then 2 weeks later says you got to start Zach. And that's probably is why he said, "Are you serious?" or whatever the line was.
Oh, I completely agree about that. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, it's because the guy flip-flops. He's a flip-flopper. That's what it was. It wasn't, "Are you serious? I don't want to play Zach Wilson." It's, "Are you serious? You've been telling me for the last 3 months I can't play this kid anymore."
I completely agree on that. I think the part for me that irks me the most about the Benigno stuff is it felt like there was excuses lined up, and he felt like he had to justify it to a guy that's clearly going to spout it all over the radio. Keep it in house. don't be telling reporters, dirty laundry and stuff. Greenby, what are your thoughts on the Joe and Saleh drama going on right now?
Well, yeah, as soon as I heard him saying it, I thought he was a scumbag. I don't particularly like Matt said, I don't know him, so I'm not gonna say I don't like him, but I never enjoyed his commentary. I always was all right. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about him. I'm all right, enough of this guy. That's how I felt. Even when I remember when he was a caller, he was actually a caller into a show, Joe from Brooklyn, whatever the hell he was, Joe from the Bronx or some shit. But I think it's more, I don't think Saleh was necessarily trying to justify. This is me. I'm just putting my thoughts on this. He was probably talking, they were probably having a conversation, and that led to that. Oh, yeah, well, look at the other coaches, blah, blah, blah. They were probably talking. You know what I mean? I doubt that Saleh was like madly defending himself. You know what I mean? Like to a
I don't think
reporter.
Saleh
He probably-
initiated those conversations, like at all.
No, but like Saleh fell for it. Like Saleh felt like, all right, well, this guy, he's a Jets fan. We're just kind of, you know what I mean? We're shooting the shit, so to speak.
Yeah.
And Joe Beningo fucking blasted him, man. I mean, say maybe Saleh, learn your lessons, dude. You're not in Kansas anymore. Like it's like, learn where you are. Stop saying stupid shit. Stop doing stupid things. Grow a sack. Bench guys when they suck. Put them back in when you want to, and don't listen to feeling. I don't give a shit what your feelings are. Get out there. That's what it is. And if you refuse to play, then we're gonna put in an appeal with the NFL to revoke your salary and all the shit, saying you're refusing to play. Like that's the route you go. Get off your ass and do what I say. I'm the head coach. You're under contract. Go fuck yourself. That's the way it's supposed to be. And Saleh needs to learn that stuff. He's still kind of dancing around and talking to Joe Beningo. Dude, you got to learn where you are, man. Maybe it takes a few years. I'm like, born and bred in this shit. But it's like maybe it takes a little while to for those pubes to pop out of your balls. I don't know. Twing, twing, twing. I don't know, man.
Timestamp.
Learn.
Bring me 4 timestamps on this episode.
You've got to, oh man, for anyone that's just hopping into this stream right now, first off, hit the like button. We got well over 600 people in here and only 175 likes. That's a disrespectful kind of thing going on. Hit those milk thumbs.
Come on, everybody.
Milk thumbs.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, too. We only have like 30% of you guys are subscribed. Come on, everybody. Help us out.
Help brothers out here. I felt like I was going somewhere with this one. Something about...
You were going to say something mean about me.
No, I wasn't going to say something mean about you. I was actually going to compliment you on it, and I don't remember where I was going.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's all right. I guess I'll have to forget and go into
him having timestamps.
It was before timestamps, though. I got excited about timestamps, and I forgot what I was going to say. That's what wound up happening. Sorry.
That's all right.
RJ McPot comes in and says, for the remainder of the season, I'm going 2-leg parlay for Jets wins and Patriots losses. That way, either free money or better draft pick. So I have been one in all my pick'em leagues. I actually did not do one this year, but usually my pick'em leagues, I pick against the Jets every week because I'd much rather be wrong in the pick'em league and happy in real life. Not that the pick'em league's not real life. I guess it is real life, but I very much am the same mindset with you. You got to bet with your head, not your heart. Let's jump down to Ryan King real quick. Thank you for the 20 spot, dude. He says, Woody Johnson didn't want to spend extra money on another quarterback. Woody's saying that's a lot of money to Quinnen Williams. This is all Woody's fault. Free Z-Tat? Zach? Free Zach? Free. Oh, freeze Matt.
Very freeze.
Sorry.
There he goes.
Dunzo. Got him. All right. So what am I thinking here?
Well, what do you think? You think it's Woody?
I think. No, I don't think it's just Woody. I think there was probably part of Joe. I don't know. Damn, I don't know. I think it's a combo of Woody, Douglas, and I feel like a little bit of Rodgers. Like I think Rodgers really wanted to come back and be like the hero, and I think that may be why they didn't try to add a more legitimate starter, because they're like, hey, sink or swim with Zach. We're gonna get a good draft pick. If he stinks, and I think part of it was money. It's kind of like understand the financial side of things. I think it was, I don't know if it was Josina Anderson or Deanna Rossini that said it, but the economic side of things with the Jets spending the second most amount of money with $285 million in cash spent this offseason, that was a big part of everything going on, I think. I don't know. I think it's a few layers, but I would say there's probably some blame for Woody, some blame for Douglas, and maybe not intentionally for Rodgers, but I think Douglas may not have made a move because he wanted Rodgers to be the hero at the end of the season. Where do you go with this, Green Bean?
I mean, that's a great point. I don't think, I understand what Ryan's saying, but I don't think Woody, if let's say there's $13 million in salary cap space, I don't think Woody's saying like, hey, don't spend it over here. Like Joe Douglas is going to spend it where he wants to spend it. Like he has 200 and whatever $1 million to spend on the team. I don't think Woody's getting involved. I just don't. I mean, Woody tried, like he meddled for years and it was just atrocious and he couldn't find a GM and he had to hire outside firms 2 separate times and they blew up in his face. Like, I just don't think he's doing that. And I also don't think Joe Douglas is gonna, I don't know. I have a problem with that. Not that Woody doesn't impress his opinion and there's money involved, like with the Rodgers thing. And I think he can have impact on that, but like your quarterback goes down, like don't spend money on a quarterback. I don't see that one, Ryan. I think our Ryan is probably, like the Ryan on the screen is probably more, like he's closer to the mark. I think it was probably thoughts about like if we get a Wentz in here and for whatever reason he's on an 8-game winning streak and Aaron Rodgers wants to come back, he can come back. Then what do we do? Like I think it's like there's potential there to kind of split the team, and I think they were more thinking along that. Plus they thought, hey, maybe Zach, maybe we can win enough. We have a great defense, we have a great running back, we got Garrett Wilson, we got good special teams. Like maybe they thought that it could work. And for a minute it was. We were 4-3. We beat the Eagles. We played this, in my opinion, we beat the Chiefs without the Taylor Swift NFL baloney that we saw. And we should have beat the Patriots. Like, you know what I mean? So there was a lot there in the beginning. The last few weeks, coming out of the bye again, it's the same thing that happened last year. We won 1 game out of the bye, just like this year, and then we lost every single game. And it's like, I swear it feels like we're on repeat to me. The only difference is there's no Mike White just to help save us.
See, the thing that kills me is like, at least while Mike White was here and healthy, like the offense looked good. Like any other quarterback under Hackett has looked like complete and utter dog shit. Like that's the scary part about this whole thing. I feel like Hackett is here for next year. Zach's ass is gone. I don't know. Matt, what do you think about the whole money side of things? Do you think Woody, meddled at all, or do you think money was an issue with maybe not going after a backup quarterback?
I'm with Bean. It doesn't really make sense, right? Like you have the salary cap acts as your budget. So shouldn't he be able to, sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, so the Jets were the second most in cash spent. So cash spent and salary cap are 2 different things. So the salary cap was, what is it, $250 million for this year. The Jets spent $285 million in cash, because if you pay out, let's call it a $50 million signing bonus to Quinnen Williams, he's getting $50 million right now, even though the cap hit is $10 million, $10 million, $10 million, $10 million. Like it's 5 years of $10 million, but he's getting all the cash now. So what they're saying is the Jets spent a lot of cash, only second to the Browns, and they spent over and above the salary cap, even though the allocation of those hits was such that we had a little bit of extra money. That's just
why does that matter? So they renegotiated a bunch of things, and they also brought in Aaron Rodgers, re-signed Quinnen Williams. Like where does that matter? Tell me.
Cash in, cash out. That's all I'm saying. Is the salary cap is based on shared revenue. So the Jets got less shared revenue in, which means it's more money out of Woody's personal bank account as opposed to the salary cap. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah.
It's a weird. It's odd, but I think that's where it's kind of.
But he's also going to save money over the next 3 or 4 years because of that, right?
Yeah.
He has to.
Sure.
It has
to.
to.
He has to. It all ties back to the salary cap.
It all washes out. So again, I mean, I see the point, and I guess that can apply, right? It's like, hey man, I'm out of money. I don't have any more cash for you this year. I gave you $35 million more than the cap was, or whatever it was for cash. I understand. At the same time, but I also say the next bunch of years you're gonna spend less than the cap. See what I mean?
It's a front loaded kind of payout now to get the cap hits later with none of the cash.
I have a hard time believing that if Woody Johnson okayed the Jets to go in for Aaron Rodgers and to pay all this money, the second he goes down, be like, fuck it, forget it. I know we were gonna go all in. Let's forget it. Make it work with Zach Wilson. That's it. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really make much sense either. I don't know if I buy that.
I think. Well, that's where I started to say I think it's probably a little twofold. I think some of it is Woody. I think some of it is Douglas. Like Douglas probably saw like, okay, I already given up, draft picks this year and my second round pick next year. I can't move the first round pick this year because it's locked up in escrow. So the highest pick you can give up is a third. What kind of, are you willing to give up your third right now to have a legitimate quarterback? But then like Bean was saying, where you have the, maybe the splitting of the team because now Rodgers wants to try and come back. Like I think Rodgers wanting to try and come back to some degree influenced the decision not to go after a quarterback earlier in this season, I think.
Does the Jacoby Brissett rock the boat?
No, but I don't think anyone at that point in time is trading away their backup quarterback, as proof by Richardson going down and like all those, like all the good quarterbacks that were signed as backups. I don't think we're moving at that point. I think the best shot you would have had would have been Cousins right when they were like bottoming out early, just before he tore his Achilles. Other than that, you'd have to go for a Wentz, I think.
Okay.
Just, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's my feeling was they weren't trading someone in the first week of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a valid point. And also, I was going to say we didn't know that Aaron Rodgers would go down beforehand, right? But I still think the time to get the quarterback was way in the beginning before you even had her. Let's say the Aaron Rodgers things blew up. At least you had Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew or Teddy Bridgewater or whoever. At least you had that going into that. You didn't have Zach again, like we're stuck with. But
if they had waited on that trade for Rodgers, maybe they would have panicked and at least signed a backup. Or not. Class Act Nation comes in and says, let Middleton call plays. Let Wilson cook. Yeah, he's going to cook. He's in a pressure cooker right now. Boba Jet comes in. So I guess Boba Jet's on board with the tickets. Green Bean, you can throw his name on there. Boba Jet says, Green Bean, Matt Ryan. So Zach is whack. Every other quarterback, too, is better than him. Our offensive coordinator needs to go. He won't go anywhere. Green Bean, the Red Wedding. Red Wedding was incredible. Matt, you probably roughly know that reference?
I do. I mean, you guys know him well. Producer Tyler, who came out to our event, he is a big Game of Thrones guy, as well as being a Rat Bastard Patriots fan. But
I didn't know he was a Patriot fan. I remember you saying one of your buddies was, but I don't think I realized that was the one that was.
Yes, but he is a big supporter of our content, and he edits for me, so we give him a little bit of a break here. But we have discussed Red Wedding multiple times. He says it's his favorite episode.
Yeah, if they had a red wedding the end of this fucking season, that might be what has to happen here. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't actually say that. As far as every other quarterback, 2 being better than him, yeah, I mean, it sucks when you're seeing quarterback 2s and 3s around the league. The friggin' Bengals quarterback goes out last night, has 4 touchdowns? DeVito for the Giants, crosstown rivals, has a worse offensive line than the Jets. He's got more passing touchdowns than Zach Wilson. Like, in the entire season, he's only played, 3 games? It sucks. It really sucks. I think Hackett is a big part of the problem. I think there's, offensive line and penalties and things like that. But I think quarterback and offensive coordinator are major issues for us right now. I don't know. What can you do? Ace of Spades says, JD learned Aaron Rodgers isn't GM, merit over friendship. Hopefully that's true and we wind up not going after any more of his lackeys. David Ryan says, rumor has it they're rebranding our jerseys soon. So after this season, they can launch new jerseys. And when they launched the legacy white jerseys that we wore 3 times this year, the prompt they used was wear what's next. So maybe that's a little nod towards what Jet fans are hoping to get for next year, because those jerseys are fire. Or even like an updated version of it. I think they're great. You could leave them as is and I'd be tickled pink. Matt, you want to see those jerseys? I
do. And yeah, just get a green version for at home, right? Like I think it's, just do the inverse of how you had it. I'm a big fan of the legacies and would be a big fan of if they just, made a green version of it too.
I would love to see a white helmet with a green retro logo too. Like within that inverse, like that would be really fun to see. Trevor T comes in with super chat. Thank you, Trevor. Says, guys, good teams have a good offensive line and a good offensive coach. We have neither or no running game, 1 good receiver that gets doubled 90% of the time. And on top of that, we can't develop a quarterback to save our life. Like, for all the people that really want us to draft a quarterback this year, is it that you have some type of faith that this regime can do what they didn't do with Zach? Like, is Zach the ultimate problem? Or is it that we have Rodgers and you get the benefit of having him is having someone sit behind him for a year? I mean, it could be a little bit of all that, I guess. Matt, where do you fall on, I guess, the quarterback? We've talked about it a little bit over the last few weeks here now, but where do you stand on quarterback at this point in time?
I am not opposed to the Jets drafting a quarterback. I just don't want to see it in round 1. I am totally fine with a mid-round. You're going to sit and develop, someone in the 3rd or 4th round, somewhere in that range, I think is when to do it, because I still think there are a ton of needs. Whether you want to go wide receiver or offensive line in round 1, I think either are acceptable. But I would not personally draft a quarterback. And also, I know, Ryan, I know you specifically disagree, and I don't know Green Bean's feel on it. Outside of the top 2 guys, for me, quarterbacks 3 to 7 are all relatively close. And I don't love enough.
I do
of
agree
those.
with that, actually.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. I don't actually like the top 2 quarterbacks. I shouldn't say I don't like. I think the next chunk is all a standard deviation of
But that's what I mean. I'm not, if the Jets pick 6th, I don't feel comfortable picking one of those 3 through 7 there. If someone is there for you in the 3rd round, or you're moving up to the 2nd round to get one of those guys, maybe that's a different story. But I guess I like Michael Penix the best, but he has injury concerns. Bo Nix doesn't move the needle.
What about Jaden Daniels?
He's a little exciting, but he's pretty slim, man. I think he needs to put on a little bit of weight.
Sit for 2 years behind Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
I mean, maybe Dude, I end up.
Jaden Daniels is the one quarterback that I really like, that I would consider pulling the trigger on, just because of the metrics. 6'4", 215 pounds, runs fast, has a good arm. I think he's going to sneak into the top 10. I don't know. I don't think the Jets do it. Green Bean, what about you? Where do you stand on the whole quarterback situation at this point in time?
Well, I don't want to draft one. I understand why people do, and I like the idea of sitting somebody behind Rodgers, kind of having that opportunity to to develop somebody for a minute before we throw them to the wolves. That's something we don't do here. So it'd be nice to see us have that opportunity. But at the same time, man, I think, just like with the last draft, we blew it last draft, in my opinion. It should have been, I mean, what we have, 6 picks, 5 of them should have been offense, and right out of the gate. The Tippmann pick is the only one that really made sense. I guess Carter Warren did too. Izzy, we're not using him. I didn't see the need for him. I would have preferred a wide receiver, quite frankly. And there were, I don't remember off the top of my head, but there were definitely wide receivers I liked there. So I think this year you gotta, you can't, I said it in my podcast this week, you can't steal second and still stay safe at first. You gotta, if you're going to make the move, you got to commit to it and go, man. You can't hesitate. You have to go. And that's what we went and we got Aaron Rodgers. Why are we bringing in Billy Turner and Wes Schweitzer and, you know what I mean? And 3 undrafted free agent wide receivers. What the fuck is this? You know what I mean? It should have been stud after stud after stud, overkill. And I'm hoping that they're all right, that's it. All guns blazing. I'd like to see them use that top pick. If you're not going to get an offensive tackle, let's say Marvin Harrison Jr. is on the board when you're there, I think you got to take him, right?
Agreed.
But if he's not, if him or Alt aren't there, then you trade out, dude. And as long as it's not out of the top 10, you know what I mean? You slide back a little bit and you recoup your 2nd round pick and you use all this stuff to bolster what you need for Aaron Rodgers. Protect him and give him outlets. And that should be the entire offseason, in my opinion. So no quarterback in the draft.
How about this little scenario? I kind of cooked this one up yesterday. I love the idea of a trade down. I really do. Now, I wouldn't trade down if you had Marvin Harrison Jr. or Alter for Shanu, but if you lose those 3, then I think you can start opening the door a little bit more, because I like Neighbors, but I feel like the size profile is a little different than what I'd want. I would not mind moving down nabbing Keon Coleman, who I think is a freak down at FSU, and then in the mid rounds, like round 3 or 4, draft his quarterback from FSU. Was it Jordan Travis?
Yeah,
have him sit. He's hurt right now. He was an ankle or foot. I don't remember what it was, but you let him sit for a year or two. Then you got that Burrow Chase type, chemistry from college already. He's got the high upside, and you get a weapon for Rodgers right now, plus the trade down where you get all the extra stuff. So I don't think you necessarily lose out, but you'd have to stock the cupboard on O-line before doing that, I feel like.
One more thing from me before we move on from this one. Just Green mentioned it, and you mentioned it too, which I think is important. I'm not against the move down, but if they're in a spot where Harrison or Alt are available, I think both of those guys are too good to pass up on.
I agree.
So if you're on the clock and one of those guys are on the board, I think you have to pull the trigger. The interesting thing for me is if they're both on the board, what do you do? I am usually more team offensive lineman, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is so good that might be the difference for me. And I might try to figure out offensive line somewhere else or be like, all right, I guess AVT is going to play right tackle and try to find a guard in the middle rounds.
Yeah, for me, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. If he winds up falling past 3, if you can wind up getting him at pick 4 or 5, whatever like that, I think you run up to the podium and you do it. And then you have your immediate generational wide receiver to pair with Garrett Wilson. You're probably already adding a wide receiver in free agency prior to that, because you don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to go before you right now, unless you wind up with like the 2 pick or something silly like that. But if you wind up with the 2 pick, I would trade out for a haul. I don't want to take like Marvin Harrison Jr. or an offensive lineman at 2 if we can have someone leapfrog the Patriots to get their quarterback and we get a haul. Like that would make me feel real good. Where do you guys fall, before we get to more super chats, where do you guys fall on Brock Bowers right now, the tight end out of Georgia? I'm like not a big fan of tight end in the first round, but like more and more people are talking to me about Bowers, and like the guy is special. He's like 6'5" or whatever monster size he is. If he's deemed like the second best pass catcher in this draft, is he worthy of a top 10 pick? Or like, because this isn't a good tight end class. There might be like 2 tight ends like before like the 3rd or 4th round. Green Bean, I'll throw it to you first because I know you're a tight end guy.
Yeah, well, it's tough to justify a tight end that high, but I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it, man.
So the argument was the Jets' second player behind Will McDonald was Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So there could be some realistic, shot the Jets are going that way.
Especially because we're cutting Uzoma, without question. He's gone. I don't know how, Kenny Yeboah is probably gone. I mean, he's still around. He's coming off injury. Maybe that's what we need. But, I think, it makes sense, dude. He's a receiver. He's a huge, big, strong dude. He's my kind of tight end. I would not hate it. I don't know, man. I'm torn right now. I wouldn't hate it.
It's too early too, I think, to really like know what we want. But like, it's an interesting question that I've had raised a few times. Matt, where do you fall on this with us?
Yeah, it's hard. I lean no, but at the same time, like if that's what they decided to do, I don't think I could like flip out and be like mad over it. Like I'd be almost kind of how I felt about the Brees pick. I was like, okay, I get it. Probably not what I would have done, but I totally get it. Yeah. I think that would be my reaction, because I think you should be able to have it with good quarterback play and an improved offensive line. To me, Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Ruckert is a serviceable 1-2 punch at tight end. I'm not saying it's elite. Yeah. It's not an amazing group, but it's solid. You could do a lot worse than that. But then again, at the same time, like adding a Bowers, who's like a legit difference maker, would be fun, and I'm not going to be opposed to it.
Ryan Woodridge comes in and says, Green Bean, should the Jets trade Wilson for next year? Yes, I would trade Zach Wilson to just be done with the year. Let's be in the next year already. Trade him for a month of a coma. Like, we're in next year. Perfect. I don't have to watch these damn games anymore. Julio comes in and says, okay, AJ Dewey game was the worst. Atlanta?
Dewey.
Dewey?
No. AJ
I got you. I
Dewey.
see what you're saying.
Yeah. AJ Dewey is the Mud Bowl. That's the guy who it was 14-0 Miami. They were both AJ Dewey interceptions, pick sixes.
Boogie Down Bronx comes in with a super chat, says, guys, what do you think if we wind up with a top 5 pick? I believe we should trade that pick up a second and a third and a first next year. If we're going all in, let's go all in quarterback next year. So if we get a top 5 pick, you're guaranteed one of the 2 offensive linemen or Marvin Harrison Jr., because I'm sure as shit thinking 2 quarterbacks are going in the top 5. So I would sit and make the pick at 5. If I'm at 6, then it starts getting a little squirrely, because now you might be able to be in front of the Giants, who, maybe they're looking at Jaden Daniels, maybe they're looking at a quarterback. Who knows? They could go receiver. But I like the idea of trading down. Trading down is my next favorite thing after the 2 tackles and the wide receiver. And depending on how much of a trade down it is, I'd have to like if you're going to get the 49ers trade down, I'm fine moving down and passing on the tackles at that point. Matt, where do you fall on trading out of the top 5?
Yeah,
what I'm saying is I think J.C. Latham as tackle 3, or even the Oregon State kid or whatever. I think him plus 2 or 3 firsts, whatever it is significantly more firepower than having Fashanu or Alt. I guess it would have to be a blow your doors off type trade for me to make back out of 5.
Look, I mean, I was kind of just saying, I don't think I would trade out if Alt or Harrison Jr. are available, but if both guys are off the board, then I would maybe consider it. And then, like you said, you get the more picks, and then you could potentially go all in on moving up for a quarterback. So again, I don't hate a trade out scenario. And I'm with you. Latham, I think, is a right tackle at the next level. I don't know if he's a left tackle, but he's going to be a damn good right tackle. Or even, like you said, the Oregon State prospect, I think is worthy of. I think there's going to be probably 4 tackles in the top 15.
I don't know what happens with the Georgia tackle. The Georgia tackle is an interesting one, because I think he got hurt in the bowl game against Alabama, and I don't know the way they were talking about it. I haven't done enough research on him, honestly, because he's a little bit further down than I was expecting us to pick. But it seems like there's some level of injury concern with him right now, and I would be out on anyone that has fucking a runny nose. I'm out.
That's right, man.
I don't want
runny nose, dude. Can't take you.
Green Bean, where are you feeling about trading out of the top 5?
I love it. I mean, that's my gig. Again, if Marvin Harrison is there, you gotta make me move. You know what I mean? You gotta make me move. Alt is my guy right now, but admittedly, I'm at the infancy stages of what I do each offseason, right? So I can't really watch a lot of college ball when it's happening. So I do a lot of draft study and breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. But so right now I would say if you're going to it goes back to the 1997 draft, the last time that the Jets had the first overall pick with Bill Parcells. He had the number 1 pick, which isn't it weird to think how bad we suck? This is how bad the Jets really suck. Mm-hmm. We suck. We're one of the worst teams every friggin' year, yet we're never the worst team to get the first pick.
Dude, that's how wins, and we wound up getting the 2nd pick. That never happens. Never happened. That's how bad we really suck. That we suck so bad that we can't suck enough to get the fucking pick. There's an extra little wrinkle in there that we suck worse. You see what I'm saying? Just suck and get the pick. But we can't. We don't suck that bad. That's how bad we suck. So the last time we did it, Orlando Pace was the premier tackle. But right behind him was Walter Jones. All right. Both were taken in the top 5. Both ended up in the Hall of Fame. Parcells traded back, got a 3rd, a 5th, and a 7th from the number 1 overall pick. Took James Farrier, Dedrick Ward, and I forget who the other guys were, but that was before draft picks were realized that they were so valuable. They didn't realize. Still
right. He took a 3rd, a 5th, and a 7th, guys. I'm fairly certain that's what it was. Somebody can look it up maybe. But think about that. So we passed on 2 Hall of Fame tackles to get James Farrior, who was fine for us, really had hit his stride with the Steelers, but he was fine. He was a good player, but we didn't need him. We had a nice linebacking core at the time, and we lost out. So it's unnerving, right? You got to make sure you're getting the proper value for it, and it's not just the value; it's where am I landing and what's going to be there. You can't lose out on a potential Hall of Fame wide receiver, offensive tackle, and then get some guard that's going to be middling. Some guy you're like, he's a nice player. It's like getting a Darren Lee linebacker. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, he's a first round pick, but he ain't the guy. So you want to be careful. So I love the idea, but again, there's a lot that goes into it.
Cuca Lake comes in, says, need a bean drug story to cheer me up. We'll pass on it now because we got a bunch of chats to get through. Ryan King, I see you in there. Let me just rip through some of these real quick. Big Green says, spreading the Christmas cheer down. Words. Let's start this over. Spreading the Christmas cheer from that big parlay. Thanks to the Jets, do we beat the Patriots on the final week or blow up our draft pick and win? I don't want to blow up our draft pick because that's what the Patriots fans want. I want them to feel the pain that we have felt for so long. They deserve to be in purgatory for far longer than we've been in purgatory for. So I want the loss. I'll take the draft pick. But yes, Big Green's parlay. I'm pretty sure, Big Green, you're the one that sent me that wild parlay that was like $10 for $1,700. Good for you, dude. If that was the one. Someone sent me one that was wild prior to it hitting. Like he sent it to me at the beginning of the day, and I was like, wow, that's really good. And he sends it back to me. He's like, green check, green check, green check, green check the whole way down. It's like, oh my God. You son of a bitch. So good. So good. Greg C comes in and says, why can we never have nice things? It's always something. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. If Zach could just play like he did against Kansas City, I don't know, right? It feels like we just get shafted each and every time we try to do something. Ryan comes in and says, Green Bean, should the Jets trade Zach Wilson for next year's 4 top picks, or should they trade Rodgers to New England for top draft picks? I'm not answering that one, Ryan. I appreciate your...
Who was that? Who said that?
I don't know. He says, should they just trade Zach Wilson next year for 4 top picks? No one's trading Zach Wilson for 4 top picks.
Yeah,
so
but who was it? Who said it?
It was Ryan Woldridge.
What are you doing, Ryan?
You just want to burn $5. That's what it is. I appreciate it.
Drinking.
We appreciate it. Mike the Stat Guy. What's up, Mike? He says, Mike McCarthy might be getting fired by Dallas. He wanted to coach us before. Should we unite the clans? We have to clean house. I wanted, so McCarthy was who I wanted when we hired Gase. At this point, I'm okay on passing on him. Matt, any thoughts? I saw you shaking your head.
I didn't like McCarthy then. I don't like him now.
Okay. Andrew Yale comes in and says, fellas, what's our quarterback room look like next year? Rodgers plus everyone else is going to be different. Let's throw Project Prospect in here quick, then we'll get to Ryan King's bigger question there. Dom C says, top 5 tackles. In my opinion right now, Fashanu, left tackle. Joe Alt, left tackle or right tackle. Fuaga, I believe, is the Oregon State tackle. Right tackle guard. J.C. Latham is a right tackle from Alabama. Jordan Morgan, left tackle. The top 4 are plug and play.
I agree.
So that's interesting. So I noticed, Dom, you did not have the Georgia tackle on there. So I think you're feeling probably similarly to Mims. Yeah, Ararius.
Back to school.
Is he going back to school?
I think so.
He said that already?
I didn't want Mims.
Of course Green Bean wants Mims. I want him to be in the draft purely so we can make fun of Green Bean for wanting Mims.
Well, I want him because I want to be right. I got another swing at the Mims thing.
I told you Mims was going to be good.
I wasn't wrong early, he says.
Yeah.
Right.
Ryan King comes in with a 20 spot. Thank you so much, Ryan. He says, what are 5 cuts you would make during the offseason? And then he sent in a $2 super chat clarifying during the offseason. What would be 5 cuts you'd make during the offseason? Freeze Ryan. So let me give you my 5, then I'll freeze myself and I'll let these guys talk. So I would say my cuts, there's not really a whole lot of them because there's not many we can save money on. But Uzama, you cut. I think I would cut Bawden, even though it's only $1 million savings. And then after that, you have to start having discussions of like, I think restructures more than cuts, because you're going to void Dwayne Brown, you're going to void Whitehead, you're going to void who's the other one we were talking about? There's three contracts that were being void. Lawson. I don't think there's anyone else that I'm like chomping at the bit to cut. It's literally I only have two off the top of my head, and it's Uzomah and Bawden. Matt, where are you on this?
I'll add a third, is Zach Wilson. But that's basically yeah, I don't think I have another one, to be honest with you. Green Bean, anybody else jumping out to you on who, like, are you cutting Lakin Tomlinson? You save $8 million, but you're creating another hole for yourself on the offensive line.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Ryan's still talking. He's just in there talking.
I have the power.
Talking to us. You do. You have the mouth. Who did you say? Who did we say so far? We said Uzomah, right? Uzomah's gone.
Uzomah, Zach,
Carl Lawson, Zach.
Well, Carl Lawson's a free agent. You don't even need to cut him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, let's see. A lot of these, I don't know, man. 5 cuts? I got to look at the roster. I'm drawing a blank for some weird reason. I don't know why.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot of money to save. Like, you'd have to cut players that are like reasonably good. Like Matt said, like Lakin Tomlinson, I would not cut him to open up a hole in our offensive line when he's been the only staple, like steady lineman the entire season.
Well, we used to say that about Connor McGovern too. Remember?
Sure. I mean, I would bring back Connor McGovern on like a backup guard center role. Get him for 1.9 again. Let's do it. Run it back.
Yeah, I would too. I would. Like, well, that's the kind of depth you want. You know what I mean? Like, it's either that, like you want like vets who like aren't quite starters yet, but if they come in, you can trust them for a couple weeks, you know?
Yep.
Or you want your pipeline guys. You want guys that you've used your fourths on that are going to sit for a year, you know, behind a vet, and you trust that your development can get them ready in a year's time or so to compete for the position. Like it's one or the other. So I think Connor McGovern, Lakin Tomlinson makes a lot of money though to be a backup. So he would probably be a starter. I don't really think he's all that good though, Ryan. That's the problem.
You don't think Lakin Tomlinson's good?
I don't.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, I think he's okay. I think he's not our like biggest problem. Like I would consider him part of the solution for next year. But I'm on board with Matt when we were talking about Zach Zinter from Michigan. I'm cool with replacing him. Even if Zach outperforms him and you want to cut Tomlinson later on, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah. That's a different story. But yeah, I'm with you on that. He's kind of like Green Bean pointed out, Connor McGovern. I think that's a good example. Mm-hmm. Like maybe not this year, Connor McGovern, but a year or 2 years ago, it was like he's okay. He's not horrible. He's not like the worst starting center in the league, or for Tomlinson's case, the worst starting left guard in the league. I wouldn't say he's elite either. He's like, he's a guy. He's a
15 to 20, 20 to 24, maybe somewhere ish in there. 15 to 24.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Douglas says, no comment, just angling for that T-shirt. I like you, Douglas. Nice. You're a good dude. Little $2 donation gets you in the running for a jersey. Imagine if he gets a $140 jersey or whatever those things cost right now. Barney comes in with super chat, says Aaron Rodgers implied that Jet fans and pundits might be too negative. I agree. As Ron Middleton might say, we all want Rodgers, but none of us want to manifest it. So look, when he said that, I was like, oh, he's talking about all of us. All us degenerates. No, you know what? We pay hard-earned money. We waste our time. We earn the right to be able to have the opinions we have. Take care of business. We won't complain. That's my stance on it.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah. Let me say this to Vicious Poker. You can suck it, dude, because here's the truth of the matter. We respond to what's there. We don't, I don't really give a shit what Hackett did 3 years ago. I really don't. Like, and that would be the negative too. Like, let's say he sucked 3 years ago, but he comes here and he does well. I don't care. We Jets fans, by and large, respond to what's in front of us. We respond by the moment. He can suck one moment, and I would see a Vinny Testaverde all the time. Fucking guy throws pick after pick at him off the field. Yeah, Vinny. Like that's the way we are. Okay, we respond in the moment. We respond intensely. Like Aaron Rodgers said recently, Jets fans care a lot about this team. That's what it is. If anybody doesn't get it, if Vicious Poker doesn't get it, and he's emotionally saying we should be nice to Hackett and Zachy because of the talents that they have, that you need to go somewhere else. Go fucking root for the Panthers because that's how they act. That's how their fans are.
Well,
we're not like that, man.
Dude, the Patriots dip out on everyone. They don't even have any fans watching the games right now. Like, that's what's going on. They're fair weather fans. Jet fans are loyal. We are passionate.
Right.
And look, Zach Wilson, arguably the worst, maybe not the worst pick of all time. I'd probably put Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell ahead of that, but like damn near our worst pick of all time. And then Hackett coaching an MVP quarterback. He had a 2-time MVP quarterback that he had the privilege of like getting his water bottles for, and it was LaFleur calling the plays. So when Hackett has to call plays for Rodgers next year, I'm fucking panicked that it's still going to be horrible and Rodgers isn't going to be able to overcome the incompetency of whatever Hackett's trying to throw out there. It's a panic moment for me. Matt, your thoughts?
I think Vicious Poker brings up a lot of salient points here.
I hate you. Get the fuck out of here. Let's go back to this one. Barney. All right. So Aaron Rodgers implied that the fans and pundits might be too negative, and he agrees. Green Bean, are we too negative?
Yes.
Matt, behind the ice wall, are we too negative? Matt, you back there?
He's gone. He took a leak.
If I can move him.
That's what I do. Whenever you freeze me, I run outside and piss all over the place.
No. My favorite gimmick from all of this is that it's somehow the fans' fault. You know, it's the fans' fault for all this, not the organizations that missed the playoffs for 13 years in a row.
Yeah.
I wanted to see this. Mike, the stat guy, says vicious stroker of Zach and Hackett.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, look, the truth is that our fan base can push it. Like we talked about it a lot last year with people going after Zach's mom and things like that's ridiculous.
Dude, the water bottle this year was ridiculous.
The water after the win in Buffalo was ridiculous. Against Buffalo was ridiculous. Like, I don't understand, but there's going to be that type of stuff. It's like, Philly, in Philly, they have a song. We don't care what you think. We're Philly. You know what I mean? Did you hear that? I saw a meme with that this week. The Philly fans walking in. There was like 1,000 of them singing this song. Like, we're the Philly fans. Like, we don't care what you think. We are who we are. And that's what we are. Like, and that's the thing. It's not like, we sell you this bill of goods and we bring you in here and then we turn on you. That's not, we have been this way since the word go. We've been this way the entire time. You know when you're coming here, what you're buying into. If that hurts your feelings, then go play for the Dolphins. That's what you need to do. They're all nice down there. They never yell at their players. They're all sweet. Then that's where you go. If you don't like it, then it is what it is.
Then you might catch a right hook from Tyreek. You never know.
That's right. Never know.
Dave D says, bring on the rigged wheel of misfortune. Oh, sorry, Matt. I talked over you.
Or the mother of his child.
Or the mother of his child. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Von Miller apparently going down that way too. Barney Miller says, it's not the fans' fault, but we're not helping.
No, that's all
well said.
I think that's a good way to word it. Like, I think when you get all the agitators of, and I think a lot of it has to do with the current culture of how media works. You're going for clicks. The only way your YouTube video or your podcast or whatever like hits is if there's a catchy, keyword in the title or a catchy thumbnail, something like that triggers it. And you see it on the news. I mean, anger sells. That's what it is. Even Jet fans, most of us would agree, I think, when we lose in like really bad fashion, usually the live streams are pretty ridiculous after that. I mean, I would love to see what success looks like, but mediocrity is definitely not great. I don't know. It sucks.
No, well, you know what though? But let me just say this to everybody who's saying like it's our fault. Like again, we don't necessarily help. Like we have a short fuse, right? So we don't give a lot of time. So we don't have patience, and that can be bad. That can be negative. We kind of roast people maybe a little bit too early. But did you see how this place was? How MetLife was September 11th?
It was rocking.
The support was palpable. We're begging. All you have to do is do your job. The job that you're getting paid multiple millions of dollars to do. That's all you got to do is not be completely inept. If some guy in the fans going, "You're ugly, you suck," if that's what breaks you, then you're not. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. And again, we can be equally supportive. Is it our fault that we've sucked for 50 years? I don't know, man. I tend to think it's the exact opposite. We have been yelling at draft boards and they pick the wrong players. We have been screaming in stadiums for which guys should start. They don't do it. We know which guys to cut. They don't listen. So I don't want to hear it, man. None of us, nobody in this chat would have taken 𝐒𝐭𝐿 over Dan Marino. Nobody in this chat would have taken Will McDonald last year. It doesn't matter who we have in here. They have their good drafts, but overall, it's ridiculous what we have to watch. And the fact that if we're upset about it, that we get called something, then suck it, dude. Then that's what it is. Get somebody with some fucking fortitude in here that can handle it and can do things with some common sense. Look at what Andy Reid does. Look at Andy Reid's drafts. They make tons of sense to me. Every single year, the player he picks, I go, perfect pick. Look at the Ravens. Every year I go, that's the guy right there. They just sit. They don't make crazy moves. They just wait and they pick the perfect friggin' player every single year, man. Why don't we do that? That's the fans' fault because we're mad. Don't give me that shit, man. It's not us. It's not us.
Dude, Baltimore had a great draft. What was it, 2 years ago with Kyle Hamilton and Linderbaum? They're just nabbing all the guys that all of us had in our mock drafts. It was wild.
They had 6 fourth-round picks. You know why? Because they also play the comp pick game. They know how to do it, man.
Dude, the 49ers know how to do it, too.
We don't get comp picks?
Dude, if we were a competent organization that would have coaches hired from us, that's a pipeline of draft picks. Watch what the 49ers do. They're going to get like 3 third-round picks this year because of the comp picks for, I think it's Mike McDaniel, D'Amico Ryans, and I think they already got the Salah one. But I think there's one other coach that left. It was like 3. I think there's 2 or 3, I guess. Barney says, challenge, name 3 trending up for the New York Jets. So each of us can name one player, and then we'll move on to the next one because we're beyond our 10 o'clock time frame.
Trending up. I mean,
Jermaine Johnson.
What are we talking about?
Ashton Davis. Dude, Ashton Davis is a baller. I got 2.
There you go.
It's probably more than that.
Sure, he's trending up.
Yeah. Thomas Morstead. GOAT. Amir.
There you go.
Comes in and says, hey, guys, thanks for the content. Who has been the best Jets offensive coordinator over the years? Revamp the O-line, find a good offensive coordinator, and a few more offensive weapons. My favorite offensive coordinator that we've had lasted 1 fucking season, and it was John Morton.
That's right.
Josh
McCown.
That's
right.
He did so much with so little, so much less than we have now, and it was a competent, strong offense. I want McCown as our offensive coordinator, or at least in the building.
And Todd Bowles had to fire him. He couldn't handle it. Get out of here, you.
Ugh. Brutal. Vicious Stroker says, you should be ashamed of yourself, Green Bean.
You're right. I totally should. I will be. Thank you.
Another salient point from our guy, Vicious.
Going to get us frustrated. All right. Matt, can you please head over to last week's stream and get us a few names of people who time-stamped the stream? If you guys want to get into our jersey giveaway, but you're watching after the fact or listening after the fact, all you got to do is timestamp down below this video. If you're watching here and you want to hang out for 10 minutes after when the video goes live, throw a few timestamps in there from some of the stuff you enjoyed today. You'll get entered for putting in timestamps. Let's pick 5 names, Matt.
Dat Dude 19 is one.
That dude 19. All right.
Stacks Max 87.
Are they X's? Stacks Max?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
SRSH 12345.
SRSH 12345. All right.
Yep. Pure Imagination 757.
Pure. Okay.
And do we have any more? I'm scrolling way down. Oh, here we go. James Falls. JAMESFALZ 893.
All right.
All right. So, do we have anyone other than, I think it was Cayuga Lake and what was the other person? There was two people, I think, for the tickets.
I have 9 for the tickets.
9. Okay, so let's do the tickets first, and then we'll do the shirt, I guess. So there's one of 9. Can you read out our list out loud for the 9 so that way people know it's not, rigged or whatever?
No.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna do random numbers.
Yeah, it's I'll show you. It's 1 is Cayuga Lake, 2 is Dom C, 3 is Greg Austin, 4 is Shane Keller, 5 is Kenneth Duffy, 6 is RJ McPott, 7 is Brandon Risek. I might have done that wrong, but it's Brandon, and 8 is Boba Jet, and 9 is Market Torres.
All right, so this is going to be for 2 tickets to the Jets-Texans game this week. We don't have parking pass, but you get 2 tickets. It's actually, so it's courtesy of Ariana, one of our loyal watchers. Her and her boyfriend watch us consistently, and they couldn't make it to the game. It's section 124,
nice.
row 7. So it's in the end zone, like 7 rows back, seats 7 and 8. So very, very cool here. Let's pick, so it's 1 through 9. Random number generator for the tickets. Number 8. Who's number 8?
I told you already.
I don't remember. You got the list in front of you. I wanted it for video purposes.
Dude. It's Boba Jet.
Boba Jet! Reach out to us. jetstalk247@gmail.com or talkinjetshow@gmail.com. Let's get your info. Send you over the tickets ASAP so you can start planning. Go to that Jets-Texans game. Represent our fan base just a little bit. Blitz Crew dropped in, donating 10 memberships to the Talkin' Jets channel.
You want to know why You want to know why he did it?
Why did he do it?
Because it's Blitz Crew's birthday today, everybody. Let's say happy birthday to Blitz Crew.
Let's go.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah. Happy birthday, dude. Thank you very much. Far too generous. Love having you here.
I'm just glad Vicious Poker didn't get one of his memberships. That's all. I would have been upset.
He probably left us at this point. I saw another super chat in here. So Green Bean, you could throw Blitz Crew on there for his donation, obviously. And then Brett Larson just came in, says, blaming the fans is nasty. The Texans fans are a problem, not showing up, not the Jets. Beat reporters with too much influence are the problem, like Joe B. I have a hard time blaming the beat too much. I mean, it is their job to get those clicks and everything. It's like hate the game, not the player, or hate the player. What is the hate the player, not the game, or whatever it is? But I hate the game, not necessarily the player. Like occasionally you'll see Hughes or Zach get shit for some of the stuff they put out, but by and large, like they're pretty decent guys. I don't know. Everything sucks.
Ryan,
We're all too frustrated.
Ryan, is your email in this one? Talking. He wants to. Boba Jet wants to know what email it is.
Oh, hold on. I'll type it in there. Let's do jetstalk247@gmail. I think it's also in our description as well. But there you go. That's the email address for. That's the one you'll actually need to like get the tickets, I guess. And then, now I see Boba Jet here too. Wow, thanks guys. That's glucking amazing. Thank you so much. What's the email? Yeah, sorry. But he's also entered in for the T-shirt as well now.
That's right. Well, yeah, he's in there. Yeah, he's in there.
How many we got now?
60.
60. All right. Where's my... There it is. 60. All right. Random number generator says 52.
52 is Amir Mahfouz.
Ooh, Amir
yep,
Mahfouz.
he's still here.
All right, Amir. We get to spin the wheel. Baggage claim, baby.
Hello.
Oh, look at this. Oh, man.
Oh, I thought he was going to get it. Wow.
I thought he
okay.
had it.
So that looks like a shirt. That is a shirt to me. Can we all say that a shirt? Does that definitely look like a shirt?
Definitely a shirt.
All right. So, dude, you're going to get a shirt. Love having you here. Boba Jet dropped in one last comment there. At the end says, I just emailed, I'm 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞. Going to pronounce that wrong, but I'll look at it. I'll find it in my email, and I will send you over.
Wait a minute. His name isn't Boba Jet?
I just assumed it would be like bobajet@gmail.com.
Boba Jet. Hello, Boba.
Nice. Very nice. I'm glad someone's going to be able to take advantage of these tickets. That's huge. All right.
Y'all, hell yeah. That's great.
All right. Boys and girls, it has been a pleasure talking with you tonight. This therapy session was much needed. Boys and girls, let's go around our panel. Green Bean, any last words for our audience tonight?
Yeah. Hey, man, we're all we got left, everybody. Stop blaming ourselves for this shit. We didn't do anything wrong. None of us. We didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, Thursday, thick of it. I'll see you guys Thursday, 8 p.m. on Green Bean Jets Fan. Let's hang out, watch some football.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
New episode of Just Jets tomorrow. Week of coverage continues over on Matt O'Leary NY. And make sure to stay locked in on Talkin' Jets. We appreciate you.
Ooh, we love having you guys here. Boys and girls, if you don't know, I'm going to be hosting a new show over on Roundtable Sports. It is called 3 and Out. It's going to be like a around the horn style show, Mondays, 7:30. It was going to be 1 o'clock. Turns out a lot of people still work. So it's going to be 7:30 to 8:30. Call-in show is going to wind up moving back to 9 o'clock. But head over to Roundtable Sports, sub that channel up, and come tune in and hang out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got a bunch of fun little gimmicks and things that pop up on the screen. Going to be a little interactive this week. But boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. This is Jets Talk, signing off. JETS.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the powder. Screw Green Bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.